Hello, my Teaserking family. How's everybody today on this Sunday? Watching the British Open. Not much of a golf tournament. See, it sucks when, here's this guy, Herman, is leading. Never heard of him. That's the problem with golf. I heard of a few people. Rory, he's a choke. He can't putt. Funny how these guys think they have to be long hitters. And it's your short game. You have to be able to chip and putt. That's one thing about Nicholas. When he played, he'd hit every 6-7 foot putt for par, for birdie that he needed. He'd make them. He would take his time and concentrate on it. Now, I know, like we were talking about Tiger Woods yesterday, he was a very good putter. It's not like I didn't think he was a good player. I just simply didn't like his emotional outburst. Is not called for in golf. Golf is not that type of sport. Go play football if you want to do that. Even that looks ridiculous when they all run in the end zone going, hey, we sacked the quarterback. Then they wonder why they don't have any energy in the fourth quarter. Anyway, general chow today. See, what's good about the diet, when you're eating healthy and you're not eating the crap. So I get the general chow dinner, and the whole thing's full of chicken and a little bit of broccoli. And that's why I get it as opposed to the combination. I don't really want the egg roll, and I really don't want fried rice. Rice is not good for you. So I get all this chicken, which is fine. So when I get it home, like last night, I eat about half of it, and I'm pretty full. Like, okay, I can finish. I'm finished. I don't need to eat the whole thing. And then the reward is on today I eat it. So good luck to Bobby with doing his fast today, or he'll do it today or start tomorrow. But you got to look at the benefits of eating. Like if I get dark chocolate, I look at the benefit of eating the dark chocolate, not the taste. I mean, sure, M&Ms taste great, but you'll fucking die from them. So it's not like dark chocolate tastes terrible once you get used to it. Anyway, so let's look at our baseball games yesterday. We had 2 locks. Let's see. I think we had Tampa Bay. We had McCullough and I think Scherzer under. So let's see what happened. So Saturday, we got the Yankees 5-2. Colorado wins 4-3 at Miami. That we hit the under on. See, there you got a 2.02 ERA against a 2.87 ERA, and that's what you get, low scoring. The Cubbies 8-6 over the Cardinals. The Dodgers 16-3 over the Texas. We had that over. Seattle, Toronto. I don't remember what we had here. We have the new pitcher, Campbell, 0-0 with an 0-0. Gets the win. I don't even know if he was the starter. Pearson, the loser, was 5-2 with a 4.75. They play a 9-8 game after a low-scoring game. Cincinnati beats Arizona 4-2. Baltimore over Tampa. So McCullough doesn't get the loss, but they lose 6-5, shockingly. Let's see when they pull McCullough. See, this is the problem. Well, Baltimore got 5 runs in the 4th. Did they even play McCullough? It's shocking you would get 5 runs on McCullough. Pitching, Rodriguez. 5 innings pitched, gives up 3 hits, 2 runs with a 6.9 ERA. And McClanahan, not McCullough. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, and his ERA goes to 2.89. So, yeah, he deserved to get pulled. It was just a bad game for him, a bad matchup, I assume. So that's a loser. San Diego 14, Detroit 3. There you go. Good win for San Diego. So everybody here, oh, Detroit's they're only 9 games under 500. And then since there's no good teams, they're like, oh, we're only 6 back. And it's like, dudes, we're not even a baseball team. You don't even have major league players on your team. And I don't know why these radio guys are all like, oh, my God. Well, I guess it's probably the Tigers network because the Tiger games are on it. So, let's get positive about the Tigers. And everybody calls up and calls them idiots. Same thing with the Lions. They'll make the Lions, and then the Lions will go 4-13 this year, and everybody will go, you were wrong, because they're not understanding. This is typical, you don't understand football. Jared Goff, he stinks. But they have no defense, so that's the most obvious. Secondly, you've lost your running back who got you 17 touchdowns because you don't want to pay him. You get a kid out of Alabama who sucks, and you bring over David Montgomery from Chicago, who was good at Iowa State, but I don't know he's going to replace the kid who got 17 touchdowns. He goes to New Orleans. Now New Orleans is going to be much better because when you get in the red zone, you got to run the ball to score touchdowns. You can't throw the ball from the 2-yard line. So I think the Lions' offense is going to go downhill because if they're one-dimensional, and I don't have to play him for this running back getting 17 touchdowns, and I know the kid out of Alabama sucks. So, yeah, I don't see, so they're not understanding that key loss of the running back. They don't have the receivers. Goff's a choke anyway. And who did he beat? I think he beat Green Bay, Chicago, and Minnesota. He beat Chicago and Green Bay twice. Well, Chicago has no defense. Green Bay has no defense. So he put up his numbers. Let's go back to the Dallas game. They get shut out. The New England game, they get shut out. So teams with good defenses, he doesn't show up with. They don't tell you that. See, they're not studying what happened, and that's the problem. Anyway, Washington 10, the 49ers 1, Cleveland 1, Philly nothing, Boston 8, the Mets 6. Yeah, Scherzer takes the loss, 8-4 to 4-2. So that's shocking. That would be such a high-scoring game. Boston had a good pitcher, so an 8-6 game. Milwaukee 4, Atlanta 3, Mini 3, the White Sox 2, Pitt 3, California nothing. Oakland beats Houston 4-1, and the Mets 5-4 over Boston in another game, the suspended game, I guess. Now let's look at today's games. Let's see if there's anything worth looking at. It's 11:45. We got a 12 o'clock game. I don't understand Detroit it's on Peacock. You got the golf on. Why do you need a game on at 12 o'clock? San Diego, Detroit. Do you think anybody's watching? I don't see. This is the problem I have is all these networks pop up and want to charge you for it. Who's watching baseball? You think people are buying the Peacock network so they can watch San Diego, Detroit? Why would you buy the Peacock network? There's no good teams in baseball anyway, right? Tampa Bay, maybe. San Diego's not bad. Of course, the Yankees. Bobby watches the Mets. But basically, you don't have good teams. So why would I get Apple TV? Why would I sign up for Peacock? I mean, The Big Ten network, I laughed at. I mean, they get the third-rate Big Ten game, right? It's not the Michigan Ohio State game's on Fox, and then you got Penn State and Notre Dame on ABC, and then you get Northwestern Rutgers on the Big Ten channel. So you're going to pay for the Big Ten channel, or that comes included in your cable, which is $125, which you say, fuck that, I don't want. That's way too expensive. So I got rid of my cable at $125. I got Roku, and basically I can watch YouTube for free and Tubi and Pluto. I think it's Pluto. I don't need Netflix anymore. I only have it to watch Money Heist again, just to take notes. What's the professor? How did he get out? Okay, yeah, I got it. And so even Netflix getting $15. I'm about to say, okay, I can't watch Money Heist anymore. The rest of your shows are shit. The movies make no sense. They don't rotate their movies enough. So the movie will be on. Pick a movie. Let's say on Wall Street. It's on Tubi, but let's say it's on. So what? They have it on for 2 months. How many times am I going to watch it? I watch it once, twice. Okay, I'm done with it. They don't rotate their movies in. Where Tubi, they bring them in and they're in for a month. Meet Joe Black and Salt on Wall Street and all these movies, and then they flush them out, and then they bring in the new. But there's always every 2 weeks there's new movies to watch. But Netflix. I called up Netflix when I got them. I says, I can't believe you. I thought it would be like Blockbuster, where all these movies are in. You come, you rent 2 or 3 of them, have them for a week, you take them back, and you rent 3 other ones. That's how I thought Netflix should be. Not this movie is going to be on, and then we'll bring in these Netflix original crap. Okay. Money Heist was the exception to the rule. Queen's Gambit I like, but how many times can you watch? Okay, I get it. I watched it. Goodbye. So, I mean, I don't see Netflix, okay, I watched The Dirty Dozen twice. Okay, move on. And there's no options to watch other movies. It's ridiculous. And that's business. But we're going to talk about inflation, deflation, and alligator today. He did a video yesterday, and then he wrote his column, which was about the same thing. So basically, he writes his column, and he went on the Australian one, As Good as Gold, or something like that, and says the same thing. So you can watch it or read it. It's really the same take. We'll get into that. I get into deflation. Everybody's so worried about it, and I go, what the fuck? Deflation is nothing. And that's where you got to understand there's different camps. So it's like Kansas City and San Diego. Excuse me. There's the Keynesians, which are the MMTs, which are government controls the economy, which never works. Or there's the Austrians, which I think are also monetarists, but it's really Austrians, classical economics, and then there's two. There's Austrians and Keynesians. Either we have control or the government has control. Communism is the government control. Socialism is the government control. Austrian is we control. That's why we thrived, and all these other, like Russia and Canada, are going down the tubes. So I looked it up because I keep seeing this deflation, and they keep comparing it to the Great Depression because prices went down, and it's just because prices go down. There wasn't deflation. It didn't cause it. The government caused the Great Depression with the taxes, and then let's build highways, and then let's have Social Security. So we keep printing money and stealing money from everybody. And that's really what causes the depression. The Great Depression should have been a very small depression in 1929, ending in 1929. But the government, thanks to Keynes, fucked everything up. So because you killed the market and you taxed everybody to death and you got off gold, you fucked everything up. So then people didn't have income, so they had to sell their stuff cheap because they needed money. I can't find a job because you fucked everything up. So now I'm going to sell my car cheap. Well, that's not deflation. That's guy needed money because you fucked up the system. That's what it was. And then they're trying to blame it on deflation. It's like the video I showed yesterday on cholesterol, where they have the fire and there's the fire trucks. And it's like blaming the fire trucks for the fire. And it's like he said about the cholesterol. He says, well, you know, you have a heart attack and there's a lot of cholesterol. So they blame the cholesterol for the heart attack. And it's not the cholesterol's fault. They just show up to help at the end, like fire trucks show up. So prices go down because people need to sell their stuff because they can't keep getting in revenue. So it's a very simple process. And if I can work, I make money. Once you raise taxes and it costs the businesses too much money and they can't sell it at profit, they lay you off. Well, then I can't get revenue. And if I can't get revenue, I sell my assets, right? So if I work, so I'm working now so let's say, and I'll get to baseball in a minute. So I work at Harley. Well, if Harley has to lay me off and I can't find a job, then I start selling my assets, which is why I buy gold, because this to me is a dying asset where gold is not. So that's why I'm buying the gold. So if I have to sell my assets, they're going to go up a lot in value, then I can sell it. But that's the idea. They blame that on deflation, and it's simply you're at the wrong side of the tracks, fellas. It's because of the inflation where costs went up and the companies can't be profitable and the companies can't sell their goods because nobody has the money for it. Then they lay off and then you can't get revenue in, so you start selling your things. Well, that's not what's happening. Anyway, so anyway, we'll get into that, but there's really no such thing as deflation. Deflation isn't the problem. Deflation is a Keynesian thing. So when you hear Rickards or Schiff or any of these idiots talk about deflation, it clearly shows they're Keynesians, right? So all you got to do is, if you have a financial advisor or anybody and you need help with your money. Hey, Eric, not much going on. Just Sunday, the British Open, Herman's up by 6 strokes, so it's not much to watch. So it's nice to see. I like watching the British golf, but that's it. So we're talking baseball, and then we'll get into inflation, deflation, because I see a lot of people that don't know what they're talking about. So if you call a financial planner, money manager, or stockbroker for help, first I'll get mad at you for not coming to me. But if he talks about deflation, or you ask him about gold and he says don't buy it, you just get up and leave. You go, you're a fucking idiot, and you don't want to listen to him anyway. Are you betting any baseball games today? Yeah, let's take a look at that, Eric. Just for you, we'll take a look. We'll get back to this other time. So we have in 10 minutes, San Diego, Detroit. Musgrove, 9-2 with the 3-1-6 against Alex Vallejo for Detroit. Let's take San Diego. So here's your first game. You got 10 minutes. Take San Diego. KC and the Yankees. Lyles, 6.05 ERA against Cervino, 6.66. Let's go over with KC, New York Yankees. The 49ers and the Redskins. Good football game. Well, used to be. Alexander, 6-0 with a 3.04 against Mackenzie Gore, 5-7, 4.59 ERA. I think Washington won yesterday. It's it's East Coast. Frisco that's a tough one. Maybe go over 9. Not too much risk to bet that game. Philly and Cleveland, no law for Philly, 9-6 with the 4.27 against Xavier Curry, 3-0 with a 2.86. So I like both pitchers here. Nola's good. He was on the Yankees. Curry, I don't know, 3-0 with a 2.86. So let's go under 9 here. Arizona, Cincinnati. Let's go over 11. We got Ruiz, 2-1 with a 5.48 against Luke Weaver, 2-2 with a 7.22 ERA. Both pitchers suck. There should be a lot of runs. Both teams can hit. So let's go over. But it's a high over at 11. So it's a little bit over my comfort zone. But for here, we're going to, very small, but it's a good over. Colorado, Miami. I got Tampa Bay's money line and under 8.5. Okay, they're the next game. So Ty Black, 0-0 with a 6.75 against Luzardo, 8-5 with a 3.34. So I like Miami there. Just the better pitcher. I see a guy 8-5. He's pitched the whole year. He's got a 3.34, so he's got to be good. They're a good team. Miami, 53 wins, and Colorado sucks on the road and a bad pitcher. All right, Eric. Baltimore, Tampa. Tyler Wells, 7-5 with a 3.54 against Ty Bradley, 5-6 with a 5.29. Now, the problem with your conclusion is Baltimore beat McCullough yesterday, and I lost on Tampa. I couldn't believe they beat McCullough. They had a 5-run fourth inning on them, and that was it. 5 runs on 5 hits, all earned. So Baltimore's got to be feeling pretty good beating McCullough. Here's Ty Bradley, 5-6 with the 5.29. They shouldn't have a problem with him. So I don't agree with Tampa Bay money line and under 8.5. I'm not sure I agree with either of those. You got Bradley's a 5.29 pitcher, so Baltimore is going to score, and they scored 7 or 8 runs yesterday on McCullough. Tyler Wells, 7-5 with a 3.54. I mean, he could keep him to 2 or 3 runs. So you're looking at 6 or 7 against 3 or 4. That's 11 over 8.5. So I gotta disagree with you both ways, Eric. I don't see why you would take Tampa in this pitching matchup. You're betting on a pitcher 5-6 with a 5.29. Now, if he's 5-0 with an 0.00 at home, now I'm with you. So if you can tell me Bradley at home is a much better pitcher than Bradley on the road, and the same thing with Wells, he's a better pitcher at home and he sucks on the road, then if you get into that level, then I can agree with you. Just looking at it for here, I would take Baltimore in the over. So not sure your logic on going Tampa again, unless Bradley is a super pitcher at home. Maybe, but I doubt it with the 5.29 ERA. Atlanta, Milwaukee, a battle of the Braves. We got Elder 7-2 with a 3.31 and Tahiran 2-4 with a 4.01. Over under 10, but Atlanta hits the hell out of the ball. Let's take Atlanta here. Better pitcher, 7-2, and they hit the hell out of the ball. So let's go with Atlanta. Chicago and the White Sox and Minnesota, the Vikings. We got Gerlato 6 with 3.96 ERA against Bailey Ober 6-4 at the 2.7. We're just going to go under. Neither team really hits that well. Both pitchers seem fairly good, although the White Sox 3.96 is theoretically 4, but Ober for Minnie's 2.74. So I could see Minnie maybe winning, but I would think it'd be a low-scoring game. And St. Louis against the other Chicago, the Cubbies. Montgomery 6-7 with the 3.14 against Talion 3-6 with the 6.05. So we like St. Louis here. The Dodgers and the Rangers. The Dodgers killed them yesterday. Sheehan 3-0 with a 4.91 for the Dodgers. Martin Perez 7-3 with the 4. We're going to go over 10 just because LA, they both are strong hitting teams, and I don't see either pitcher doing anything. So I really like that game, the Dodgers, Texas. Pitt in California, Mitch Keller, 9-5, 3.73 against Tyler Anderson. 4-2 with the 5.17. Do you go Pitt on the road? Yeah, we could go Pitt, I guess. California doesn't have anything. Houston and Oakland. Now, normally we like Houston. Oakland won yesterday. So let's look at Houston. Hunter Brown, 6-7, 4.26 against Luis Medina, 3-7 with the 5.79 for Oakland. Let's go over 8.5 here. Houston should have a field day. St. Louis Cubs under 9.5. I don't. How are you analyzing these games, Eric? Because the Cubs pitcher, Italians 3-6 with the 6.05. Montgomery's 6-7 with the 3.4. So you're betting under, but you're betting under with the pitcher that gives up 6 runs a game. You're betting under 9.5. So this is where you lose me, because when I see Anderson Wrigley, now maybe the wind's blowing in, does that freaking matter? But see, that's why I bet Verlander, McCullough, Scherzer under, because they're very hard to hit. Although Scherzer didn't show up yesterday, so maybe he's injured and not as good as he used to be, and we've got to adjust for that. And McCullough got beaten up yesterday, or McClanahan got beaten up for Tampa, so it doesn't work every time. Good luck to you on your bets, but I don't understand them. Or you're using a different method to analyze the games and pick them. So I wish you luck, but I don't see it. Again, Houston, Oakland, I like over 8.5. Both pitchers suck. Toronto, Seattle, Manoah, 2-6 with the 6.18 for Toronto, and Ric Flair, Brian Wu, 1-2 with the 4.74. I like over 8.5 here. Toronto is a good hitting team. And the night game is Bobby Bowe against the Red Sox. We got Carlos Carrasco, 3-3 with the 5.35 for the Mets, and Brendan Bernardo, 1-0 with the 2.48 for Boston, but he probably hasn't pitched that much. So I like Boston here. They beat Scherzer pretty good. So see, psychologically, you beat Scherzer, you beat Verlander, you beat McCullough, McClanahan, whatever his name is. Then you see the next guy, and you're like, this guy, we're not worried about him. We hit this guy. So I like Boston tonight. So no locks, but a lot of good plays. But when you make these bets, Eric, you have to have a rhyme and a reason for it. Like me, I go through the pitchers, I go through the defense, through the quarterback, and I make my play. And it's pretty consistent. That's what I'm looking for. I'm betting Georgia under, boom. And unless the spread's 40, the total's 52, I'm betting Georgia under, Georgia under, Georgia under. Except, ironically, the championship game where the over-under was, I think, 60. But because TCU was giving up 80 points to Michigan, and Georgia gave up 48 to Ohio State because their best player was injured, then I kind of put 2 and 2 together and said, well, I'm going to take them over in a rear over move on Georgia. And we won. But, I wasn't really that comfortable, but I knew they'd score a lot on TCU. And I could see they were starting to score more, so that's why I went with it. Anyway, so that's are you looking at the hitters? Or are you looking at batting average? Whatever you're looking at, the pitchers dominate the hitters, so keep that in mind. So be careful when you do that. So if we turn our attention to gold and deflation, inflation, economy, it's very simple. If you're at market, so the first thing you do is determine, is there a market? Can I sell Canadian Club? Yes or no? Yeah, there's a whiskey market. Then I price it, and I try to get the right price for this. And now I have my market. General Chow sauce, a little tight. Excuse me. So, is there demand? Yes. Excuse me. I must have swallowed something on the chicken. So the first question, is there a market? And we say yes or no. Then we figure out the price based on competition. It's the beauty market. So now all of a sudden, we're selling our goods. We're selling Cheerio at $2 a box, $3 a box, and it's flying off the shelf. So we got the right price. Maybe we go up a little, but basically we got the right price. All right, people want it, and we got the price. People are buying it. Then here comes government interfering, which is what we say in Say's Law. And Adam Smith, invisible hand, keep the government out of it. Let the market, let the buyer and the seller just deal. We don't need the government. But the government feels they must intervene. They must cause the depression and the inflation and the recession and the wars. So because they want to play too. And this is the problem with government. That they need to be needed. We don't need the government. We only need the government to keep the money secure, which they can't do, to keep the laws secure, which they can't do, and have a small army to protect us. That's the role of the government, those three things. Well, there's a fourth, but it's to have the rule book, the Constitution, keep the laws not corrupt, keep the money safe and limited, and make sure there's no monopolies. Make sure that the businesses, if somebody tries to cheat, that you don't let them do it. I mean, that's it. That's the role of it. It is not to build roads. It's not to build bridges and dams. It is not to run schools. None of that, because the government doesn't know what they're doing, because it must be run by the individuals. That's what's proven. That's what Adam Smith said. So we have different forms. There's communism and socialism, which is the government running things. And then there's what we do or try to do, which is individuals run the markets and should be running the schools and everything else. So you don't want the government running things. You want the individual, right? So what happens? All of a sudden, the government feels like, well, we got to do something. So they start raising interest rates. They start raising taxes. They fuck up the system, because if they raise taxes or this inflation, which raises the cost, you fuck up the system. I'm selling this. I found $50 is the sweet spot. I have demand for it. I know what my costs are, $35. I can sell it for $50, make a nice profit, and go on. And just leave us alone. Let me keep cost $35, sell it for $50. Customers happy, $50. I'm happy. I'll get my Canadian Club 12-year-old. That's really what you're trying to accomplish. But once you raise interest rates and you raise taxes and you inflate the money, one, you're fucking the money up. Two, you're fucking so you're inflating, which fucks the money and fucks the cost. So now, because the government gets involved with the inflation, it raises interest rates. When I drink, I don't drink often, but yeah, I'll make sure I get Canadian Club. That's it. I won't drink Dewar's. I won't drink Crown Royal or anything. So if I'm at a wedding or some event or New Year's Eve or something where we're drinking, we're at a nice restaurant and we're all having something, I will have specifically Canadian Club if I'm drinking whiskey. Absolutely. When I'm with my girlfriend, she likes champagne, so I'll drink that. But normally, yeah, it's the Canadian Club. They were very good to me, and I'm very loyal to them. Now, I will not drive a Ford or a GM. I did work for them, but I will as soon as everything hits the fan, I will be driving Mercedes. So anyway, the government comes in and raises the cost through inflation and taxation, mostly inflation. You've ruined the dollar. It takes more dollars. So you've increased my costs. You're fucking with my market. So now it cost me $35 and I could sell this at 50. Now you fucked me up. Now you've raised my cost to $45. What do I do? Can I sell it for 60? Well, the market says you can sell it for 50, but you can't sell it for 60. Now I'm fucked. Thank you, government. You fucked me up because you fucked with the money. Why are you fucking with the money? Because you're a bunch of corrupt bastards. That's why, because they're printing it and stealing it, and they want votes. They want power. That's not why you're in the government. That's not why you ran. You're for the people. You're supposed to be for us. You're supposed to be our leader. I don't understand actually why there is government, do we need a leader if we're in a laissez-faire economic Adam Smith society? I don't need a leader. I don't listen to anybody. I listen to myself. That's it. Now I learned from Adam Smith and Say's Law, and I learned what not to do from Rickards and Schiff, all these idiots that don't know a fucking thing. That's my problem, is you're learning from them and they're wrong. They're all communists. They're all Keynesians. Like I said, if one of these idiots starts talking about deflation or bad against gold, just walk away. You don't want anything to do with it. This is why when I'm in the hot tub and I'm talking to the communist, I don't talk to him anymore. I can't learn anything from him. He doesn't want to be taught. He knows everything because he reads Karl Marx. So I don't really want to fight with him. I like to teach. So if he doesn't want to learn, I don't see any point in having any conversation with him. There's no benefit to me to talk to a communist. Anybody that actually says they're a communist has got to be out of his fucking mind in the first place in America or in Russia. I've been to Russia. I've been to the Ukraine. Nobody comes out and says, yeah, I'm a communist. I read Karl Marx. You got to be out of your fucking mind. Especially the Russians and the Ukrainians understand how bad communism isn't. They live in it. They come here to get away from it. I talked to a buddy of mine from the club from the Ukraine, and he said, no, any Russian that comes over never wants to go back to that. It's like terrible conditions, slavery and everything else. So you would never go back to Russia. So why would an American want communism? Why would you want government to be controlled? So I've got my new thought process. This is slavery and control and gold's freedom. What would you choose? What would you rather have? Would you rather be a slave or be free? And I don't know how else. I think that's the most basic way to put it. That's the fundamental bottom line, stone cold saying, you want to be a slave, you want to be controlled, or you go into gold where you're free. So it's your choice. What do you prefer? That's it. But people won't believe it. That's the sad part of it, is people think they're in the dollar and they're free. And well, I'm in Microsoft or Amazon. Well, they're all going broke. I'll read you Alligator's thing first. But they're all going broke. I mean, this is Alligator's yesterday. Why the dollar is finished. I mean, look at this is Alligators, and then his other shorter one is consolidating. So it's a long read. The dollar is finished. I'm not going to read it all, but there's certain points in it. And it all comes back to Austrian economics, which he kind of understands and kind of doesn't. One thing, first of all, it's the trade cycle. It's the Austrian version of the trade cycle, which he doesn't quite follow. I mean, it's 16 steps. This is the fiduciary credit inflation is the most dangerous. This is done by the banks. Fiat money is the government, but that doesn't do it. It's the Fed that causes the trade cycle by printing money. And it's a very, I'll just say it. So the first step is the Fed lowers interest rates, which makes money cheaper, which makes to stimulate the economy. So you got to realize the Keynesians they think that they want to stimulate the economy, that the economy should always grow. And as we know, it's like eating chocolates. Yeah, we can grow till we're 500 pounds. Is that good? No, it's unhealthy. So we can have the economy growing without inflation just by productivity. So when computer comes out at $2,000 and then the competition comes and now I can go get a laptop for $300, that's good. It doesn't cost me as much for better technology and there's more of a selection. That's how the economy should grow, through innovation, competition, making things cheaper. That's the whole point of it. But when the bank sticks their nose in, they lower the interest rates. They increase the money supply. Then there's the capital goods boom because things are cheaper. So now, my cost just went down from $35 to $20. Oh, good. I'll go buy some more machinery and labels and design a new bottle and all the extra costs that I really don't need. So you got capital goods booming. Then you got prices going up due to demand, due to the money supply. So you've created more money, which devalues it, and the prices are going up because a lot of it is because of the demand, and the stock market goes up because people have more money. They don't know what to do with it, so they put it in the stock market. Again, the underlining is they're holding gold price down, so people don't go into gold. They go into the market thinking, I'm going to make money. The Fed increases the money supply to keep the interest rates low. Well, what does that do? That's inflation. Then you have mal investments, which are bullshit investments. I'm going to give you 20 grand, and instead of buying gold with it, well, it's like the Canadian. So he sells his house for 500, buys a new house for 7, and then puts 400,000 down on the house. That's incredibly stupid. That's a mal investment. Why are you buying a $700,000 house instead of putting the 400,000 in the gold, knowing what I'm teaching you? It should have been a no-brainer, at least 300,000 in the gold. Then you can watch that turn into $1 million with no risk instead of the $700,000 house. Who the fuck's going to afford in socialist Canada a $700,000 house? Are you out of your mind? As interest rates go up because your inflation's higher than our inflation. That's just incredibly stupid. The boom continues based on low interest rates and lots of capital. That's number 7. Number 8, consumers get increased income. Consumer goods boom. So we get a raise at work because work's doing well, or we get a bonus. And it depends on the supply and demand for labor. If there's a lot, like now, there's a lot of jobs and not a lot of people that want to work, so your wages go up. But that's not inflation. That's supply and demand. There's 100 of me, a senior financial analyst, and 200 jobs. Guess what? I get an increase in pay. The waitresses, let's say, lose money because all these restaurants are going out and they're being replaced by fast food. Well, I don't need a waitress in fast food, so your jobs are going away. It's like the buggy whip. The buggy whip, people that worked at the buggy whip lost their jobs, but then they should go to the cars and go work at the car companies, which are now growing and expanding. So like the cars cost more, but they added to they made the quality of life better because now you don't need a horse, and by now you can drive a car and you fill it with gas and off you go. So that's really where technology changes, or computer or cell phones. And at first they're expensive, then they go down in price, then everybody buys it, but it makes your life better. Now I got a phone that I can get on the internet on, and I can watch YouTube on, and I can take pictures, and I can WhatsApp my girlfriends in Europe. So yeah, it's a huge benefit. So my quality of life goes up. And then as the competition comes in, the price lowers. That's not deflation. That didn't hurt anybody. More people bought, and more people will rebuy at these low prices. So what the fuck? Why is that bad? So I don't get this deflation. It's a communist Keynesian view, because they think that you have to keep growing the economy, which isn't true. Like cell phones, right? Cell phones come in, the price goes down. Is the economy growing? I don't think so, because you just lowered prices. But wait, everybody benefits. What's wrong with that? It's really the quality of life that we're looking at, not the growth of the economy. We don't care about the economy growing if our quality of life gets better. Oh, you came out with new golf clubs, and then there's competition, and now I can buy a whole set for $200, and it was $700. Well, that's perfect. My quality of life went up because I'm able to buy a set of golf clubs cheaper. How does that hurt the economy? It helps me because it makes me now I go buy one, which stimulates the economy because now I bought it because the price is down. So then, so that's step 8. Step 9, the economy is less liquid. Consumers go into debt. So we go buy the golf clubs on. Now, I would pay debit card, but a lot of people pay credit card. They don't understand the credit cards. So now the debt starts going. And this is where it starts turning bad. Banks have the malinvestments, savings drop because debt goes up. Number 10 is the cash crunch. Banks start restraining credit due to falling savings. And we get the question, Ken, and so we're already past that step. So the banks are going, fuck, everybody, look at 2008. Everybody's in the houses and they can't pay the housing loans back. We're fucked. So that's why the banks had trouble. They loaned out money to they took bad risks. They didn't look at credit score. They put everybody on variable rate mortgages instead of fixed rate mortgages, because the broker says I get $10,000 if I do it. But what if the guy can't afford when the adjustable rate mortgages always go up 100% of the time? That's the point of them. They'll start at 2%, and in a year or two they go up to 4%. That's what Batman figured out in that Big Short movie, and that's why he said, well, the first quarter of 2007 is when all these come due. And then nobody's going to be able to afford to pay their mortgage, and they're all going to default. And that's what's going to happen. So that's what Batman figured out. I knew that before, because as soon as Clinton said, we're going to give loans to anybody, that was like, whoa, you can't do that. You've got to if I'm going to loan somebody money, they got to have good credit. I don't loan money out to lose it. I loan money out to make money on it. It's a business if I'm going to loan money out. Me, I just assume buy gold and loan money out. I'm going to make a hell of a lot more with no risk in gold and silver than I'm going to do the other way. So then you got the cash crunch. Number 10, banks start restraining credit due to falling savings and begin to question, is there able and willing? 11, inversion in the yield curve. Now we have been there for a while. Short-term rates are higher than long-term rates. Demand for short-term rates go up, long-term rates stay even. It's red flag. This is when the boom happens. We've been here for like 2 years now, where the inverted yield curve is ridiculous, because why would I go out 10 years for 2% when I can go out 2 years for 5%? Hello, McFly. But yet It should be as you go longer, the yield curve should go up, not down. That's a bad sign. That's red flags, and here's the boom. And for people think that's not a big deal, they don't know shit. 12, the cluster of errors. Banks want their money. Sound familiar? Get out of loans and debt, panic selling, abandoned projects. So businesses now have to pay their debts back. So they're in the middle of building something that they didn't need in the first place. So they just wasted money. The Canadian club says, you know what, we're going to come out with a new label because our money's cheap. You know what, forget it. We're not going to come out with a new label. We just wasted $2 million because it was 0% interest. And they want their loan back. So I guess we're going to scrap the project. People do things that they don't need to do because the money's cheap, not because they need it. That's a big problem in business. Step 13, liquidation phase. Sell, cost cutting, companies close, layoffs. Sound familiar? Yeah, that's right now we're in step 13. Deflation, the real explanation. Banks have bad loans. Fiduciary money goes down. Banks can't find willing and able to borrow. Sounds real familiar now, but this is not the deflation the Keynesians are talking about. This is banks having bad loans. I want my money back. I can't pay you. Let's go back to Attack on Wall Street, my favorite movie. They come for his house. He can't pay him because the idiot lost his money because he didn't listen to the professor and buy gold where he would have been guaranteed to make money. We're at step 14. The banks have bad loans. We've got the inverted yield curve. We've got credit problems. Step 15, the banks find borrowers. So now the banks have money, but they can't find anybody to lend it to because I don't want to get into debt. I don't want to borrow anything. I don't want to buy a house now, especially with the inflation and the higher interest rates. I don't want to, you've made things too expensive. And then step 16, which will happen soon, cleaning out process. Everybody tries to get liquid, businesses lay off, and that's what's coming. Trade cycle will not happen if it's created by an increase in savings. Only by an increase in the money supply. Only if you have inflation do you get this shit. And you get the inflation by the Fed printing money. Otherwise, if it's because of increased savings and like I said, and the cell phones come down and the golf clubs have competition and their prices go down and everybody benefits, so you get better clubs at a cheaper price, there's no trade cycle. Only the Fed can inflate its way to a trade cycle. And then they'll blame Putin or they'll blame whatever, and it's all bullshit. So I don't know why Alligator has a problem understanding this, but he seems to have a problem. It's from inflation, right? That's it. And inflation is the increase in the money supply. Period. That's it. It's fiduciary credit inflation, most dangerous, bank credit. Trade cycle, final exam essay. Basically, it's created by the Fed. The Fed prints the money and it makes it worth less. So it's a very easy concept. The government's not supposed to fuck with our money, yet they fuck with our money. They cause all these problems, but then they try to confuse everybody. What do they say? Well, inflation is an increase in prices. Let me read that to you. So I looked it up today. Is deflation Austrian? And I got so I got like Mises, which is Austrian, defining the deflation myth. So he's saying, what the fuck are you talking about? There was an inflation. So inflation, the Austrian school, any increase in the money supply not supported by an increase in the production of goods leads to an increase in prices, but the prices of all goods do not increase simultaneously. It's the increase in the money supply is the problem, and then the effect is the money's worth less, so the goods go up. Then we get into deflation. You know, we go to the Keynesian. So in the Keynesian view, says I'm against deflation. He believed it contributed to the downward cycle of the economic pessimism during recessions. What the fuck does that mean? Believed it contributed during recession when it's the cycle of economic pessimism during recessions when owners of assets saw their asset prices fall and so cut back on their willingness to invest. Deflation doesn't cause prices to fall. It's just they talk like in riddles, right? They don't fucking explain it. What is the type of deflation in economics? There are two types of deflation. There is bad deflation, which is the aggregate demand for a good falls faster than the supply. Then there is good deflation. Deflation is good when aggregate supply grows faster than aggregate demand. What the fuck did I just read? See, they make it so confusing. You could read it and what does that mean? Basically, bad deflation is when the demand for the good falls faster than the supply. Well, that's ridiculous. So they're saying, I don't want Canadian Club anymore, and so Canadian Club lowers their prices. The only reason I don't want Canadian Club is you've inflated my dollars, so they've lost value. So let's go back to square one. You've inflated this, so I've lost value. It's hit the iceberg, it's sinking. I don't have extra money to pay for Canadian Club 12 because you've just fucked my money up. My money's worthless. This is where we are. So now the deflation is, well, nobody has money left to buy this. So therefore, if demand drops, as we've said, the price of the whiskey drops. So here's the market, $50. But then you're taking my money away and you're costing me, my money's worth less. So now the market drops to $40. And so Canadian Club either sells it for 40 or gets out of business because they can't, or they lay off employees to go. If they go down the market, then they're not going to make any money. So they get rid of their cost, which is stupid. So, but why is this deflation? This isn't deflation. You fucked up everything with your inflation. You've ruined my money. So my money is worth less. Everything costs more. Therefore, if everything costs more, how the fuck is that deflation? I have less money because you've ruined it. And if the price of Canadian Club drops, that's not deflation. That's the market saying, I'm not going to pay 50. Or maybe they still do. Or maybe they don't buy it, which is probably what happens. I'm not going to go buy the cars because they're too expensive. I'm not going to go buy a house. So the big ticket items, nobody's buying because they can't afford them. The golf clubs, maybe you don't buy, and then maybe you don't play golf because you know what? My cost on energy and everything else, things that I can't substitute out. I can't substitute my electricity, my air conditioning. I need to run my fridge and I need to cook. So whatever charges I got to do. Maybe I get a grill. Maybe I get a fan. I can kind of work around it. But what they're trying to say is deflation is the prices going down. But they're not getting to the cause of why is the price going down. They're just saying, oh, it's bad because the prices are going down. This is the Keynesians' view. They're a bunch of fucking idiots, right? I get passionate at this. What are the Keynesian types of inflation? The Keynesian school believes inflation results from economic pressures such as rising cost of production or increases in aggregate demand. So there's more demand for Canadian club. How is that bad? That's good. That's what you want in business, right? Specifically, they distinguish between two broad types of inflation: cost push and demand pull. And I was just looking at that. And we'll explain it. So demand pull is money supply increases faster than the prices. So you're printing money. Demand pull, prices rise, inflation. And demand pull and cost push, money supply equals prices. So it's still based on the money supply. In either case, it doesn't fucking matter. It's you're printing the dollars, making them worth less. See, but then Keynesians won't say that. They're saying, well, economic pressures, rising cost of production, or increase in demand. Well, how does the cost of production go up? It wouldn't go up because you just fucked up the money and printed more of it, would it? See, that's what they don't want to tell you. They don't want to tell you they're the ones doing it. They want to say, well, prices went up. Why did the price go up? Well, because we printed more money. And when you print more, you devalue it. When you devalue it, the price go up. What is the Keynesian theory of deflationary? The situation, see, here's Keynesian. This is why I don't do graphs. They start with the graph shit. There is insufficient demand to get the economy to full employment. Who gives a fuck if it's full employment? Do I care if some guy retires? Does that have any effect on the economy? Absolutely not. If he retires, he's got money as long as he spends. Inflation, the economy is based on me having money, paying rent, paying for food, consuming what the producers are producing. Does it matter if I'm working or not? Why? Why would it matter? All right, let's go back to alligator. Why is the dollar finished? They get into this BRICS thing. I'm going to read too much of it. Basically, it's competition of the dollar versus gold versus BRICS coming out with the gold-backed currency, August 22nd to 24th. Trade settlement currency on the agenda. There's strong evidence that planning for this new trade currency has been in the works for some time. We're witnessing the initial step away from fiat to gold-backed currencies. So the bottom line is, why is the dollar finished? Because what do you want? Do you want, as I just said, do you want slavery or do you want freedom? This is gold. I should get my gold out. Freedom or be a slave. So everybody doesn't want to be controlled by the dollar. Controlled slavery, same thing, versus freedom. But what's the government do? They keep the price low. So everybody thinks, why do I want freedom? Because they don't know it's freedom. I got to go get my silver. I'm too excited. Okay, so let's keep it real. So this is freedom. This is control or slavery. Why would you want to be in this? Why would you want to be in stocks? Why would you want to be in bonds? Why would you want to be in a real estate trust? Okay, the house is a asset, but the problem is the house is so expensive, and with the high interest rates, you really want to go buy a house? Do you think they automatically go up in value? No, they don't automatically go up in value, but they're an asset, and they're a demanded asset. Everybody wants a house, although you can live in an apartment or a condo. Freedom, slavery, Titanic, can't hit the Titanic. The only thing that can save this is this. This is the only thing that can save this. Now, as I talked about yesterday, if you're in Berlin or Germany, there's now a 19% VAT to buy this. They're trying to stop you from buying it, or they want their cut. Why would they want you to stay in the euro, which has hit the Titanic? All the currencies have hit the Titanic. All the paper currencies are, as I call them, paper. They're toilet paper, Kleenex. This is worthless. This has value because they can't print it. If we go back to basic fundamentals, the more you print, the less they're worth. That's why the Montana rookie card's $100,000, because there's probably only 50 to 100 PSA 10s. That's why they have the value. Look at the Jim Brown PSA 8 rookie card, $119,000. Look at the Jerry Rice rookie card, $133,000, because there probably isn't more than 100 or 200 that actually made PSA 10. Well, we know they just printed 10 trillion of these, probably more, because they give money to the Ukraine. They give Social Security gets paid with this, and welfare gets paid with this, food stamps. All the government programs get paid with this. They just print more. That's inflation. You're printing more and more and more. You can't print more of these. Silver's silver. Now, even if they do the bullion, they're still taking silver that's already there and just turning it into coins. They're not finding more. They're not printing more. They're taking what they have and turning it into a bullion. That's all that's happening with this. So this is freedom, because they can't print this. This can't lose its value. The demand for this is high. But what they can do is fuck around with it with JP Morgan, who can say, you know what, we're going to print paper gold to keep the price down. Aha. But it's not paper silver is not this. This is why you don't want to own an ETF, or you want it in your IRA. Do I want to buy gold and silver stocks? Not right now. Why not? Because all the Europeans are going to take their money out, because there's $26 trillion from foreigners here for safety. And as they start reading the signs that the dollar's in trouble and the banks are going out, and that hasn't gone away, and the inflation's there, they're going to pull their money out. Well, what's going to happen to the stocks when $26 trillion and the banks are pulled out? Look what happened to Credit Suisse when the Saudi king pulled out $10 billion. They went broke because they don't have the money there. So this is what's happening with what's going on. So if I stay here, I'm a slave because they control it. Right? It's a fixed game. They're both fixed games. The difference is this is being printed out in every country to zero by the idiot Keynesian governments. For some reason, all the Keynesians are in government. You can't print this out, but this is being held down. But once we kill COMEX in London, which we're killing them, because everybody's going to lose this, is going to run into this, because they know this can't be fixed. So when I tell people at the club, do you have this? No, I got I'm in oil stocks, I'm in Amazon stock. Well, that's still this. When the dollar goes out, so does the stocks. How are you going to value Amazon inventory or Amazon cash? Their cash position goes to zero. Now they're going to come out with new cash. As I said, there'll be a new one. There won't be barter. You'll go. So the question is, um, how do I buy groceries with this? Well, you sell it for this and you buy it with that. Or, somehow you'll convert it and use your debit card and go to the grocery store. That's what'll happen. So let's read alligator. Here's a good quote. We have been brainwashed with Keynesian misconceptions and the state theory of money for so long that our statist establishments and market participants fail to see the logic of sound money. They fail to see the logic of having this because, well, nothing's going to happen to this. Okay. And the threat it presents to our own currencies and economies. But there is a precedent for the foolishness from John Law, the proto-Keynesian who bankrupted France in 1720. And it's the same similarity where he just printed money, didn't back it by anything, and it went bankrupt. Fiat currency and gold. America's financial position is dire, more so than is generally realized. The euro is additionally threatened with extinction because of flaws in the euro system, and the UK is already in a deeper credit crisis than most commentators understand. So he's saying we're all fucked, except for the guy who owns real money. This is alligator, but I agree. So BRICS will be in there on the agenda for a new gold-backed currency to be used exclusively for trade settlement. What does that do to the price of gold? And silver's right there. Gold goes up, silver goes up. They both go up together. They're both real money. Even though you use silver in solar panels and batteries and cell phones and computers, it's still money. It just has a few more uses. Gold's too expensive, so you don't use gold in these things. It doesn't fucking matter. It's money. This is the real money, but people are so stupid they believe this is real money. Okay, we'll see who wins, but we already know who's going to win. Let's see. And there's like 40 countries joining BRICS. A, they want to get out of the dollar because they don't want to be slaves and controlled. And B, they want to be free, and they know gold-backed currency you can't inflate. That'll keep their interest rates down to keep their productivity going up. So if Canadian Club understands it's 12%, it's 3% a year, they can plan everything. But all of a sudden it's 6% for interest, kills a lot of their borrowing and capital and everything that is relying on interest rates. And they got in. That's why the banks are failing. They're in at 0%, and now it's 5%. So if interest rates are down, if inflation's supposedly down to 3, which is not true, it's about 15. Why are they going to raise interest rates again? They don't need to. They got down to 3. What the fuck are they doing? So anyway. And it is the financial war which could determine the military outcome, because if the dollar is destroyed, so will be America's military capability, and NATO will fall apart. And we're all hoping for that. Let's see if I get down to the bottom here. I mean, it's like a book. He prints 10 pages. Like, dude, I just want a little summary. So at the end, in short, so this is probably all we need to read. We are witnessing the end of the fiat currency era, which in pure form has existed since Bretton Woods was abandoned 52 years ago when Nixon took us off the gold standard. Americans, Europeans, and the British will experience gold prices rising against their fiat currencies, possibly at an accelerated rate when foreigners start dumping their currencies in favor of gold. But it won't be gold rising so much as their fiat currencies falling. Well, I disagree with him. I think the demand for gold pushes the price of gold up just like any other product. Yes, the dollar is going to go down, but I don't know how strong the dollar is that keeps gold down. But if the dollar goes out, then what's the value of gold? And then gold turns into its own value, not in dollars. So what he keeps saying is gold will stay constant, but because it's backed in dollars and they've inflated the dollars, the price of the gold is so much higher than it really is. But because they keep printing, they keep the price of gold down because it's manipulated, not because of the market. So anyway, that's alligator. Now let's get to the alligator thing. Bobby, where are you today? Missing on a Sunday like this. It's going to cost you, Bobby. All right, so this I found yesterday afternoon when I got home from swim in Chinese. And I've got this at the...
Recently, and for no reason at all, I asked Mint Mobile's legal
team. Shut the fuck up,
Reynolds.
So let's go to the 20-minute mark. So this is good. It's the 20, 30, and 40-minute mark. I'm going to start it here.
Interest rates would fall to reflect the soundness of the currency, assuming it's properly backed, credibly backed, which means that interest rates would probably fall if the British experience of the 19th century is correct, and it is, towards the 3% level. From 7.5% headline, and equally bond rates would come down. So, the prize is far better domestic economic conditions by going on to a gold standard than remaining tied to the West's very fluky and very volatile fiat currencies. So you can see that this is the background to the whole situation. So it's a combination of things. The vested interest within the whole of the BRICS organization is A, to stick together, and B, to have sound money in the backbone, if you like, of this organization. And it will be the consolidation of the whole of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and BRICS and those intending to join BRICS. They will probably create a new category. They'll say BRICS associates or dialogue partners or something. They will all come together under this. Now, the point about this trade currency is that it is actually very easy to set up. Why? Because the general public are not involved. This is a medium, if you like, of exchange, which will exist between a network of central banks, in my view, with one new central bank created whose sole purpose is to issue and control the relationship between gold and credit of this new currency. This new currency will not be available to, non-banks, if you like. Probably not even available to banks in the direct sense, but credit based on it will be. So what you need to do is you need to ensure that there is a strong link between credit, which is created for the purpose of trade, most of which is self-extinguishing, by the way, and the top level of currency, which is firmly linked to gold. If you've got that, then your trade currency is simply the equivalent of gold. That is, I think, what will be proposed, or something similar to that will be proposed at the BRICS meeting on the 22nd to the 24th of August. Now, since all the planning has already been done by Glaziev, whatever he comes up with will be almost a fait accompli. Now, the interesting thing, you referred to, Daryl, you referred to the press not covering this at all. Goodness, it's almost as if there's what we call a D notice on it, which basically is the intelligence services say, thou must not publish this on pain of prosecution. But I think actually it's not so much a D notice, it's just complete ignorance of the importance of the situation. Do bear in mind, for the last 52 years, we have had complete completely fiat currencies. No relationship between gold and fiat currencies. Gold, as far as our systems are concerned, is just a pet rock. And it's been stated as such by authoritative sources. So we don't understand the implications of this. I mean, as you know, the establishment, by which I mean government, press, financial markets, none of them actually have grasped the importance of this. Why? Because everybody only understands fiat currencies, and they think that the dollar is money. But as we've discussed before, it is not. So that, I think, is why this is a slip through the schools, slip, if you like, through the cracks in the floorboards. Now, one aspect of this, obviously, is that when you get a superior form of money, it will drive the others, the value of the others measured in goods and services down. So that is not good news. And over the years, I've described the accumulation of gold, which has been obvious for China, not just in terms of official reserves, but also the gold which she has taken in, the emphasis that she's placed on her gold mining, which made her the largest gold miner in the world, belatedly being followed by Russia, particularly since Putin's special military operation back in February last year. You can see that, and also in the last year, 18 months, the central banks throughout Asia have been accumulating gold, real, physical gold. We know which way this was going. This is quite clear. So the gold reserves are there. There is no doubt that when this story breaks, and we're probably beginning to see, in fact, I think we are beginning to see, the price of gold in dollars tending to rise, which basically means the dollar's falling rather than gold rising. And the vibes I'm getting, I'm getting asked to do so many interviews now. There is a slow awakening that this might actually be rather important, and we better sort of talk to McLeod and find out what the hell's going on. Now, so this is, I think, a story which over the coming, over the period up until this August summit in Johannesburg, I think I would see that the sort of, the machinery in people's minds will begin to understand that there are implications here. But there is another aspect of this which I think we mustn't ignore, and that is that we are banking on interest rates going down. The whole idea that we can value our stock markets and all the rest of it at current levels is predicated on interest rates will go down. And we see the contraction of bank credit, or rather the slowing of the growth of bank credit, whatever it is, as evidence that this inflation monster is actually being tackled and will go away or die or something. So bond yields are unlikely to go much higher, and so on. But there is so much ignorance in this. We actually have this bank credit cycle, which I know we've talked about, and just as they created the boom, they create the bust. And this is why bank credit is contracting. And it's contracting because banks are now more frightened of risk in their lending than they were greedy,
able and willing,
the expansionary phase of the bank credit cycle. And what this...
So like I said, they can't find able and willing. They don't want to lend the money out to people that can't pay it back. And the people who can don't want to borrow because everything's too expensive. But he doesn't, it's the trade cycle that I read you. That's what he's referring to. But he's not really an Austrian. He's kind of an Austrian. He thinks like an Austrian, but that's what he doesn't get is the full trade cycle. But back to alligator.
Means is that they are restricting credit at a time when businesses are facing increasing costs, pressure on the...
I'm going to move it up to further in the game.
Members of this super organization turning their own currencies into gold substitutes or linking them through some sort of currency board, maybe with the new trade currency to stabilize their situation, to ensure that their interest rates are low, to take them away from the control of the Western central banks and the way they manage the pump and dump operations, whatever. IMF, that's out of this. That's out of this entirely now, being replaced by the new development bank. New gold currency. This, I think, is as an important event in this century, the 21st century, as was the falling of the Berlin Wall to the last century. This, I think, is major.
Well, and as we said, it's gone unnoticed, and no one knows. At least there'll be 25, 30,000 viewers who will be more informed after tonight. I mean, absolutely. So what does this mean?
12,000 viewers
for gold. I mean, you've got Jim Rickards.
He's an idiot. He's a Keynesian.
Can we see ahead? He said, well, chaos. This was just a couple of days ago. I watched a presentation of Jim's. He said, I can guarantee you chaos and $15,000 an ounce for gold by 2025. What do you think?
By the end of the year, it'll be
this event is going to do for gold?
It's really not so much what it does for gold. It's what it does for the, for the fiat currencies. It will just collapse their purchasing power.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, this is, conventionally, you've put it conventionally, Daryl. Yes. The idea that the gold price is rising, but it's not the gold price.
I understand.
It's rising. It's the paper money collapsing. Yeah. And to put targets on it like $15,000 or whatever is completely irrelevant and actually misses the point. One's got to understand that the reason that people should hold gold is they're hoarding real money. This is legal money, accepted as legal money throughout the world. I mean, the Chinese word for gold is the same as the Chinese word for money. And Roman law ensured that the colonizers of the world from the 18th century onwards spread the concept of gold to, if you like, nations which were still sort of tribal and way behind the rest of us. I mean, I remember my grandfather farming in Kenya at a time when Africans didn't actually understand the working of the wheel. That is how, we spread gold, if you like, sound money into these areas. And, the cultural changes have been absolutely incredible. And I think part of this whole story is the way in which Africa has evolved. It's gone from...
Yeah, okay. The point there was that you're buying gold to get out of fiat. So the Titanic's hit. So what he's trying to say, and I will put it in English, is you're buying gold to get out of this, which is what I keep explaining. You want freedom. You're getting out of slavery to get into freedom. I can't put it any simpler or more direct, so everybody understands it. That's why you're doing it. As this goes out, the value of this goes through the roof. Now, initially, as he's saying, well, the price of the dollar is dropping, makes gold go up. Well, it's still fucked with COMEX, so we got to get rid of COMEX. However, COMEX will blow up because the demand of this is just going to make it go away. And then this goes up. Then everybody comes in to buy it, forces the price up, like the Joe Montana card. And for this to get to $100,000 is not out of reach if Montana's $100,000. That's why I showed you that. So the key is to get as much in my mind, I hate that word. I'm a collector. I collect Montana cards and Mano cards and Bobby Orr. I'm collecting gold and silver. We're collectors of this. But the more of this you can get away from, now you need to keep enough to pay your bills now until the shit hits the fan. But once the shit hits the fan, then this goes away. Now this goes through the roof. That's why you'll be buying houses and cars with an ounce of gold or 2 ounces of gold. But you paid $2,000 for it. So for the $4,000 you paid, and you're buying a $400,000 or $500,000 house, and you don't need a mortgage because you paid it with gold. That's the beauty of it. That's why we're doing what we're doing, because you can't print this to zero. You can print this to zero. God knows JP Morgan does. And they keep this price low because they don't want competition for this. They want you in this. They're making Madoff look like a Boy Scout. They're printing this to zero, but they're keeping this down. So you don't want to get into this. Aha, says the professor. But no. This is really much higher than they're saying. So we're ignoring them and we're just saying, just keep buying this. We have the chance to buy this at $26 an ounce and it's worth $2,000. And to quote other people's money, I'm buying the company. It's a $25 company for $10. I'm buying a $2,000 ounce of silver for $24. Aha, says the people. Well, you know what? I don't believe you're $2,000. And that's where I get the pushback, is they don't know the whole story and they're going, well, it's $25. How can it be worth $2,000? And that's where you try to explain to the people and then you just walk away shaking your head going, what a bunch of fucking idiots. You're going to get what you deserve by not buying the silver at $26 when you could, when it hits 2,000. And I say this, don't come crawling to me. And there was a lifeguard who, she understands it. She says, but I don't have any money. I'm broke. And I'm like, you really don't have $100 at all? You got bigger problems than I think. I mean, at least if you got, 20,000 of this, okay, but you can change 10 of it into this and then you'll make a killing with the 10. But to say you don't have any money, I mean, that's just stupidity. I mean, now you must really want to be a slave if you don't have any money. Unfortunately, most of the U.S. is like this. I know, in Europe, a lot of people are fucked. They don't have money. As they raise the taxes and the inflation, everything's more expensive and you take home less money, so you can't get by. I mean, I just gave Jenna $150, I think yesterday, to get from Kiev. How she got to Kiev, I don't know. She wasn't supposed to go there, back home. So she could take another bus and another cab and another whatever she was taking on her journey home. And she was like paying for it. And then she missed the train or the bus and they wouldn't refund her money. Well, too bad, you missed it. So she had to now get more money to buy it. What an adventure. So she says today, well, I lost 2 kilograms or 4 kilograms or whatever. And I'm thinking, that's actually good, because I wanted you to fast for your high blood pressure, but you wouldn't listen to me. So you kind of forced fast by being on a bus for 2 days, where you had some water and a little bit of food. So you probably drank a lot of water for the 2 days, which is perfectly fine for a fast, and you didn't eat. So I bet your blood pressure's way down. You cured yourself accidentally, but I'm glad you. So I said, well, go eat. Now, I don't know if she wanted more money, but I'm like, look, I just gave you 200 last week and 100, I'm like, go find, that's it. I'm tapped out. I just gave you enough money. I can't help it if you got screwed or you couldn't reserve, or you shouldn't have bought it then. If they're not gonna go with the observation that you've got the ticket and you missed it because the bus was late, then you shouldn't be buying the ticket in the first place. You should, if you're going to get penalized, just buy it when you're there. Sort of like what she did. She bought the ticket when she got there. All right, let's go back. The last
inflation
segment.
I think I've told your viewers this, that you could buy fantastic house in Berlin, 6 bedrooms, swanky part of Berlin, whatever, for $100 in 1923. $100 was just under 5 ounces of gold. So, the difference between unsound money, which was the paper mark, and sound money, which was gold represented by the dollar, very starkly shown there in terms of what happens to the purchasing power of gold when the purchasing power of fiat currency really does collapse. So we're not even talking about that yet. We're only talking about a situation where, the purchasing power of fiat currency goes down while the purchasing power of gold remains relatively constant. Eventually, the collapse of paper currencies bound to drive up the premium, if you like, in gold in terms of its purchasing power.
Yeah, got it. Absolutely. You mentioned also in these countries that are sick and tired of being ripped off by the US and the US dollar, of course. Egon von Greyer's came up with a really startling statement, I thought. I'm interested in your response to this. But he said, he's talking about the US debt explosion. Why are these countries so angry, have been committed to trading in US dollars? Since the US was founded, he says, in 1776, it took 221 years until 1997 for the debt to go from nothing, 0, to 21 trillion. Right. 221 years to get to 21 trillion. In the last 4 years, it's emulated that exactly. The debt, the US debt, is up $21 trillion from 4 years ago. Yeah. I mean, so yes, they're sick and tired of it, and there needs to be a change. The point is, and you've mentioned it, it's all about debasement of currency. That's what it is.
How are you today?
So currency, as we've just said, it's not about what you can, how the price of gold. It's about what you can exchange for it. But I'm going to ask a question just quickly. This is all about history repeating itself. 4 or 5 predecessors prior to the United States of America, they all made the same mistake. Same thing happened. My question would be, will they ever learn? Will they ever learn? And what would it take to make the necessary change and adhere to a good, sound policy?
Well,
much corruption.
The answer is that they can only learn the hard way, and unfortunately at our expense. So, the establishment is entirely Keynesian. They're entirely sold and believe in the state theory of money. Basically, that money is not a matter for you and I as individuals, what we use in exchange for goods and services to be agreed between us, but it is a matter for the state to impose upon us. This is very, very firmly the belief of all economists, the entire investment establishment, with the exception of a few mavericks like us, perhaps, the only thing that will change that is a collapse of the system. And this is why I've always felt that the evolution of this problem is collapse first, remedy second. Now, I'm not even sure that they will come up with the right remedy, because there's got to be a complete re-education process. You're going to get, I think this is one of the reasons why nobody really is treating this, new BRICS trade settlement currency seriously, because they just don't understand the implications. You would think that, during a currency collapse, there will come a point where someone turns around and says, we got it wrong. What we have to do is we have to secure the value of the currency by reintroducing a credible gold standard for the currency. But the intellectual hoops that everybody has to go through to get to that point means it's virtually impossible to see how you could arrive at that point, of recognizing the remedy, as it were. And what you're likely to see instead is increasing control by the state over our affairs. This is the whole point about CBDCs. They want to control what we do more, because what is the risk to the state? It is us acting as free individuals. That has got to be suppressed, because we now have no alternative, speaking from a statist point of view, in terms of avoiding things slipping into some sort of crisis. So you can see that they're going
So that's where we get into freedom and slavery. If we're into this, they can't control us, right? We're off boards, we're out of the system. This is the system. Even if you're in the stock market or in the banks, you're in the system. They can control you. They can say you can't get your money out. I got 100 grand in the bank. Sorry, not anymore. We've closed your account. They can't fuck with you with this. This is total freedom. You want to do anything you want. Now they can tax it, as they might if it's a big enough amount. But if gold goes to 10,000, you take your 1 ounce to the coin store and he gives you $10,000. You're off the radar. All you say is I sold something. That's fine. But this keeps you clean and keeps you free. Don't forget it. That's the most important thing that this will do for you. Gold and silver, of course, is your freedom. If you want to be a slave, stay into this. If you want to be free, you go into this. That's the simplest way to understand what the fuck is happening, because the government, as you said, they're all Keynesians. What are Keynesians? They're all communists. They want to control the economy. But Adam Smith, as I've said in the Austrian school, want us to control it. We control the economy. We control the market. We don't want to spend $20 on steaks. We wait till the price goes down to 10, or we buy another. I got this steak here. I could have got the $20. I could have got the $20 New York strip. I got this. This is my General Chow on it. I got this for the $9.99. Steak to me. All right, yeah, this Delmonico, maybe a little better New York strip. I'm not going to pay $17, $20 for it. So that's the point. We're the market. We control it. Never can the government control the market. It won't ever be done. And to quote it, it's Tesla trying to sell electric vehicles. There is no demand for it. There's nothing positive about it. Why would anybody want to fucking... Oh, wait, there's all these gas stations, but where do I charge? I need to charge this car, and it's going to take me how long to charge it? Forget what the price is right now. It's going to go way up. But so I gotta sit here. So instead of taking about 2 minutes to to put gas in my car, I'm going to sit here for 8 hours charging my car? Really? And then it's going to last for 2 hours, and then I got to charge it again. Yeah, that seems really productive. Who the fuck would want that? And how much is it going to cost me? 30, 40, 50 grand? At how much is the interest rate? Toyota is saying it's a $900 payment a month for a fucking Camry. How much is the electric car going to cost? And the interest rate, it's going to cost me $900 a month to drive a piece of shit electric car that I don't want. Well, the government's trying to say you do want it. I don't want it. I control what I want, not the government. And if you want to be a slave, then stay in money. You want to be a slave and be told what to do right here. And that, I feel, is the problem with the kids today. They don't want to work. They want the government to take care of them, but they don't see the other side of the equation. If the government takes care of you, they tell you what to do. You are now a slave to the government. Is that what you want to be? Let's go back and watch some Joe Stalin movies and see how when the government controls you, you end up in prison. You can't say you have no freedom. Is that what you really want? That's why the Russians, when you say we want communism or socialism, look at you like you're out of your mind. Well, you're going to go to prison. Well, I didn't do anything. Well, there's no law, there's no lawyers, and there's no judges. It's on Joe Stalin, and I don't like the way your haircut is. You're going to prison for 20 years. You want that? So that's really the big problem. That's why you got to get into gold or silver, or even the Mantle card will be valued in this, right? Your Rolex will be valued in this. As he said, in the 1920s, the house, you paid 4 ounces of gold for a $500,000 house in Germany at the time. And that's what this is. So the house kept its value, 4 or 5 ounces of gold. And the Mano card will be valued in this as Montana card. Because they're assets, they'll be valued in this, as will the Rolex, as will the Picassos. However, don't get into art. I see people getting into this strange money works or something. That's ridiculous. That's the stupidest thing. You don't really own the painting, you own part. That sounds like a gold ETF. I really don't own the gold. I own a piece of it, but when I really want the gold, I can't get it because it's not really there for me. It's just amazing how stupid people are. Well, it's not amazing. I shouldn't say it that way. It's amazing how the scams come out and the people fall for it. When I tell people to buy gold, I'm literally shocked that they don't run and buy it. What are you waiting for? Excuse me. Was this a small piece? So I don't know how else to put it. Freedom, slavery. What would you prefer? I mean, it's as easy as that. This is freedom because you're off the books, you're out of the government, you're on your own, and this is going to go up. First of all, you have no risk. This is not going to zero. It can never go to zero because of demand, because this is real money. I mean, if it was ever going to zero, it would be now, right? Because you've had 50 years of fiat. Why does this have a value at all? Everybody should be in fiat, yet this is a $26 value being held down. So we know the real value is probably about $1,000 now. But everybody goes, well, the highest it's ever been is 50. It's been COMEX, it's been price fixed the whole time. So again, once we let it run in a free market, this will be a couple thousand. So the question is, are we going to get a free market on silver? And that's what this whole BRICS thing is, back currency. You will see gold repriced several times up because they don't want $1 billion. They just want a little, enough dollars. But if you back it with gold at, let's say, 20,000 an ounce, you don't need as many dollars. And this way you can print a lot of money and you have gold for it at that price. So that's really what they're headed. Let's see if there's anything left with the alligators.
And this sort of belief, if you like, that the state controls everything and that humans have got to be controlled even extends to artificial intelligence, which one of my friends keeps on calling artificial insemination. But this, the point about AI is that, it is thought that they can effectively replace human thinking. It can't. I mean, it can replace a lot of mechanical jobs because it is based on mathematics, if you like. Robot does things on a mathematical basis. But that's not how humanity works. Humanity works on changing moods, changing desires, changing objectives, and all the rest of it. And there is absolutely no way that AI can be used to do this. But it's not going to stop the state trying to use AI to control us. So I think we're going to go through, sort of through the valley of the shadow of death, as it were, before we can on the other side.
Really? A commercial?
Wow. I think, I wrote down, Dara, a few points from Alistair that he's made, and we're going to stick to the subject. One point was the BRIC nations won't want to use the US dollar. I fully understand that, why they don't want to. But the US has printed all of these zillions, really trillions of dollars that are out there. So as I see it, those trillions of dollars aren't going to be used anymore outside of within America and maybe a few other Western nations for the time being. What happens? What happens to those US dollars? Does the Federal Reserve take them back in, or is there a depression in the United States because the amount of dollars that are flowing through?
It's a very good question because just look at the numbers. We've got about 32 trillion of foreign ownership of dollars and dollar financial assets. The ownership, I mean, of that, around about 6.5 trillion is, cash and, deposits and things like treasury bills and certificates of deposit and so on and so forth with maturities of less than a year. Okay, so that's the liquidity bit. The liquidity held in foreign currencies by Americans is around about 600 billion. So you can see that there is not very much there to absorb the potential liquidation of dollars. And this, quite frankly, means that the dollar is in real trouble if the foreigners start selling. And I think, as we can conclude, the introduction of a better means of trade settlement than the dollar is going to mean that the dollar is redundant for a lot of the world. So that is the underlying dynamic. There is another aspect of this which is even more worrying, and that is that if you look at the long-term investments, of those you're looking at about 24 and a bit trillion invested in US treasuries, corporate bonds, and US equities by foreigners. Now, if they sell US equities, these are in ADR forms, and what it means is that unless they add to their dollars, which is a situation we're not talking about, if they sell their equities or bonds, then they will also almost certainly be selling the dollars as well. So if you get a bear market, I mean, just putting the BRICS thing aside, if you get a bear market, there's an awful lot of foreign ownership to unwind. Now, let's look at the other side. The Americans own roughly, it's estimated, about 14 trillion of foreign equities and bonds. This is against the 24 trillion, so 14 to 24. But their ownership of foreign equities are all in ADR form. In other words, they've already been converted into dollars. So when they sell these equities and they sell these bonds, because, it's all being loaned out, loans to Liberia or Argentina, whatever, all done in dollars. There is no foreign exchange offset to the foreign selling of long-term securities from selling or unwinding of foreign positions by US investors. So what you're actually looking at is the total liquidity in the private sector is at 600 billion against 32 trillion. So, how do you absorb selling from that huge great pile when you've got a tiny little pile like that to absorb it? Now, when it comes to currency swaps, that's pretty limited because currency swaps are usually of the order of something like 20 or $50 billion, with 6 banks, something like that. Not the banks, incidentally, of the nations which are likely to turn sellers of dollars. But the effect of activating these swap lines, while it's limited and it might have a short-term support level, is to contract the amount of credit within the system. So you're making the situation worse on the domestic front, tending to increase pressure for interest rates to continue to rise. And the relevance of this point, if you look at the chart of and it'll be in my article, incidentally, which will be posted for Gold Money today. So, your viewers can go and look at this. The chart of the trade-weighted index for the dollar is just broken down quite dramatically. And it looks, if you're a technical analyst, you'd say this is toast. This is going down very sharply and quite severely. So, and it's interesting that this has actually happened in the wake of the confirmation from Russia that, the new go-back to trade settlement currency will be on the agenda of the BRICS meeting.
Yeah, incredible stuff. It was. Yeah. It's.
All right, that's alligator. So I found that yesterday. Alligator being alligator. So I again leave you with freedom, control, or slavery. Do you want to be controlled, enslaved, or do you want to be free? And you won't be in CBDCs. Again, I don't think, I think it'll be just like Bitcoin. I don't have any Bitcoin. It's out there, but I don't have any. So I think Bitcoin's idea was to get out of this also, but why they didn't go into gold was a huge mistake. And I think it's partly Russian oligarchs trying to launder money is really why Bitcoin is. So I think it's more of that than it's, that. But I think the idea is they wanted to get out of money. But why invent Bitcoin? If I got $1 million, I'm buying gold. Why would I buy Bitcoin? I don't know. People, Bitcoin's going to go up. Why? Well, I don't know, but it will. Well, when you hear that, run. I give you reasons why gold and silver is going up, but you can't give me reasons why Bitcoin's going up because we don't have any idea. Will Bitcoin even last when the dollar goes to zero? What Bitcoin's priced in dollars? What's the value of it? This has its own value. This is real money. Silver will have its value, as will gold. They'll have their real value. It'll go up. They're not going to zero, but Bitcoin and stocks are going to zero with the dollar. So as the dollar goes to zero, things priced in the dollar go to zero, unless they're gold and silver, where they can be priced in their real, what they are, which is gold and silver. And the Montana and the Rice rookie cards will be priced in gold and silver, not that. Now, they will come out with the new fiat currency, hopefully backed by gold, but I doubt it. And that won't last long either, but you need the medium of exchange to go to Kroger's, right? If you want to go to the grocery store, you want to go to Meijer's, you want to go to the drugstores, you want to go out to eat, you need this. You can't, even if you have a credit card, well, it's got to have dollars to it. How do you, I want to spend $1,000 what? I want to go on a vacation. Well, how are you going to pay for it? Well, I have a credit card. Well, that's based in dollars. So the credit card, that's why I'm saying you won't have to pay it back because you can't. There's nothing to pay it back with. That the dollar's gone. You don't really own anything. Like you owe $5,000. Well, you really don't owe anything because there is no dollars that you're going to value it in. It's zero. Now, if they come out with the new currency, they might push what you owe to the new currency, but then they got to push the bank. It's all got to be one. So if you got 50,000 in the bank, and then here comes the new currency, then they have to exchange it, and now you got 50,000 of the new currency. But they might not. But if it ends and you don't have, and your money in the bank's gone, so's your credit cards. They go to zero. So does your mortgage goes to zero. So keep that in mind. It's all it's all the same. But that's what we're looking at. So it's very easy. Do you want freedom? If you want freedom, you're here. If you want to be a slave, your choice. The only problem is here, a slave, you don't get paid anything. You get to be controlled. Like now we're slaves, but we have freedom. I can go to Vegas. I can go play poker. We can bet our football. I can go swim. I can buy clothes. So even though I'm a slave, I can do a lot. When this eventually hits the fan in the CBDCs, I'm going to be limited to what I can do if I accept it. If I'm in gold and silver, I'm not limited. It's the same life I've had. And that's what I'd like to keep. Actually be better because I'd be off the radar. So if I don't make any money, so if I sell my gold and it's 50,000 an ounce and I sell it and I get 50,000, I don't have any income. I don't have to do a tax return. I got the money. I can go on a trip. I don't need to work because I got all this gold and silver that's worth a ton. So, I go buy an island somewhere and it'll be very cheap. So everything will be cheap because people will need, if the money goes away, what happens is people need to live. So they sell their asset. That's the key to it. So Warren Buffett thinks he's smarter than everybody going, well, I got $2 billion. I'll just start buying houses and cars when the assets drop. Only he doesn't realize what you're going to buy it with. His $2 billion will be worth zero because the dollar will be worth zero. His $2 billion will be worth zero. Now the new currency will come out and maybe his $2 billion goes to $1 billion. Maybe it's worth half. I don't know. Where if he had gold, his 2 billion would be worth 20 billion. But he's not smart enough to think like that. Oh, yes, he is a billionaire. So excuse me, I lost my mind for a minute. A billionaire who's not smart. Oh, I thought they were all smart because they're billionaires. Whoever came up with that idea is a fucking idiot. You're a billionaire. You must be really smart. Or the same idiot who said, well, you live in an apartment, you can't be smart. Yeah, I don't want to be in a house that's losing value, and I want to buy gold. So this is a perfect place to be until my gold goes up, and then I can buy the house and not have a mortgage. Anyway. So what else? So I read you the trade cycle. It's the Austrian version of the central bank lowering and raising interest rates, causing this whole thing. So it's caused by the central bank printing the money, inflating the money, which then creates this deflation, which is just a made-up word. If they lose value, it's because there's no market for it. Like I said, the market is based on, there's got to be demand for your product. If there's no demand for this goes to zero, which is what's happening. If I can be in gold and silver, if there's gold and silver backed currency, why would I be in this? And that's what the U.S. is afraid of, and the Russians and Chinese saying, fuck you. You put us on double secret probation or whatever. And therefore, my ruble I can't buy dollars with, so we're going to come out with this, and this cannot compete with this, right? There's no way this competes with this because this gets printed and this can't. This can't lose its value. Now, COMEX can pretend they're keeping the value down, pretending that's the real value, but it isn't, and we understand that it's not. We know it's bullshit. So that's where we're at. So that's why I say buy as much as you can. I go every week now, and I wasn't expecting to buy a quarter ounce of gold yesterday. I was expecting to buy 10 ounces of silver, but he didn't really have these. So I'd rather buy these. He had like rabbits. This didn't look right. And I said, no. And then he had quarter ounce and 1/10 of an ounce Canadian maple leafs. And for the price of $5.40 for a quarter ounce maple leaf, I was like, wow, that's great price. Anything under $600 for a quarter ounce is great. And again, they keep manipulating the price up and down. So I know it's not the real price. So I'm getting a real bar. I'm getting a $10,000 quarter ounce for $540. See, in my mind, it's all other people's money. It's I'm buying a $25 stock for $10. And that's how I'm looking at this. I'm buying a $2,000 ounce silver coin for $28. I'm buying a $50,000 ounce gold coin for $2,000. That's how I look at it. And I just keep buying as much as I can. And then there's Alligator telling us, and Egon, a little bit of Andrew Maguire every other week, and you're just watching it. And then I know what's going on. I got my economics degree in Austrian economics, my master's. So I'm not blind to it. They're telling me, and I know, and then I get mad when I hear these other idiots who don't know what they're talking about. They start talking deflation, they're Keynesians, and I turn off. I don't want to listen because it's a waste of time because they're full of bullshit. Anything the Keynesian says is bullshit. I don't want to hear. You're not going to educate me, and I don't want to be in an argument with you to try to prove Austrian economics. It ain't worth it. It's not worth talking to a communist about why freedom in America is good. If you have to like have an argument over freedom in America versus communist Russia, I don't know how you can even do it. I don't get the point of it. Like, you got to be fucking kidding me. I can't argue that. I don't want to argue that. And then that's what we argue. So anyway, just keep this. This is your freedom. Buy as much of this in gold as you can. Get out of this. So you keep enough for a couple months of expenses. So if your expenses are $2,000 a month, rent, food, groceries, well, that's food. Going out to eat, clothes if you need it, medical if you need it, your utilities. So you figure that out, a couple thousand a month. Okay, keep about 5,000 or 6,000 out. You're working, okay, buy gold with that money like I do. And then that's it. And then just wait for the gold to go up. It has to go up, but the BRICS announcement helps. It doesn't matter. The dollar's going out and it'll eventually, people will see it and they'll run the gold anyway. So it's like chess where there's, I put my horsey here and I can either take your queen or your king. And you got to move one of them, but I'm going to take one of them. I got you by the balls both ways. And that's what it is. I was watching that girl play chess again. And in this one, she's trying to explain her moves. She doesn't know she doesn't know how to explain. Well, I'm going to castle this and I'm going to do it. Why are you castling? Well, it's good to castle. Why is it good to castle? And then she has these funny names for things. But she really doesn't explain strategy. You know, I'm building this wall. I want to have this good front. I'm developing my pieces. What the fuck does that mean? Why are you developing your pieces? Why aren't they already? What does that mean? Why would you give up a bishop for a bishop? Well, why would you trade it? Why are you getting your pawn? You know, she does explain a little like if there's a bunch of pawns on the white, I don't care about my white bishop. I can't move it. I want to move my black bishop because it's free to roam. What the hell difference does it make? So move your pawns off of the white squares. You know, it's not that hard. I wish you would explain it like I explain economics in football. Then, you know, that shows you how hard it is to teach because you could say it, but people can't get it. You haven't done a good, it's the teacher's fault. I do that when I'm working now and I'm being trained on certain things and I'll ask a question and then she answers it. And then I said, good communication. Now I understand what you're trying to say. And that's the point. So it's very hard to teach properly because you have to bring it to a level that people understand it. So when I teach you football, what are we looking for? Quarterback, that's pretty simple. But how do you evaluate the quarterback? Touchdowns and interceptions. We don't like running quarterbacks because then you're not using the running. You're not using, think of it as chess. If I run my quarterback, I'm not using my bishops and rooks because I'm not handing the ball off to my running backs and I'm not throwing the ball to my receivers. So one of them's the rook, one of them's the bishop. But wait, I want to use all the pieces. With a running quarterback like Lamar, you're not using all your pieces or Fields or the CJ Stroud or Richardson or any of these. You think the quarterback running is good, and it isn't good. It doesn't win. That's why you have running backs and receivers on your team, especially if the quarterback can't throw. Now, if you got like a Jefferson or Thompson Robinson from UCLA who can run and throw, Frank Harris from UTS. Now, if you get a quarterback like that who can run and throw, now you're good. That's why I question Tagovailoa can't run or throw. Hurts runs but can't throw. Max Jones can't do anything. That's why I question the Alabama and Ohio State quarterbacks. They're not capable of using the whole chessboard. They can't throw it well. If they run, I don't have to cover the pass because you can't pass. So that's Lamar's problem. You can't throw the ball 20 yards and hit a bullseye. You can't even hit the target. I don't have to cover them. So I'm going to be on the line of scrimmage. You hand off, I got you. You try to run, I got you. Now what are you going to do? So that's the problem. He's not playing the full board of chess. So that's how you explain. Then it's the defense. Well, my defense is going to stop you. I got the Georgia defense. I'm going to bet it under. Good luck beating me. You won't be able to get a first down. So that's what you're looking for in football. That's what you want. A good defense, a good coach, Sean Payton, the good quarterback who Aaron Rodgers, Brady, Drew Brees, that, is clutch, that knows what they're doing. They can complete a lot of balls. They use their receivers. Cousins, as bad as he is, he still throws the ball to Jefferson a lot, and Joe Burrow, who hits Chase all the time. That's good. That's what I'm looking for in my quarterback. That's how you play it, and that's what you're looking for, not anything else. So anyway, 2 hours later, it's amazing. I don't know how long I'm going to talk for. I really don't have a plan. I had alligator plan because I watched it yesterday, or Andrew McGuire. So I planned that, but I don't know how long. I got a little baseball. I like the chats. Kenzie, you should say more than hi, but that's okay. At least you come. Hopefully you gain value out of it. But you seem in and out so quickly, I'm not quite sure why you come, just to say hello, I guess. Bobby Bo, where have you been? You missed it. It was a lot of alligator today. I'll quickly, this is what we talked about.
Yeah, incredible. There was it was, yeah, it was just a goal, and that's
So alligator's on as good as gold. So I talked about that a lot today. Was out by the beach this weekend and just done back around my way now. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Had a couple of hookups. As you can see, Kenzie said, hey. She says, hey, and goes away. It's like, what's the point, Kenzie? Disappointed that I'm so, well, that's okay. You can watch it. So basically what I did is I touched base. I did the baseball, and then I touched base on alligator because I saw this last night. He did his as good as gold Australia. And so I covered, basically it's about BRICS. It's about competing with the gold-backed currency in the U.S. And then I give you something that you can show your family that maybe now they'll get: slavery and or control or freedom. You take the pick. Do you want freedom, or do you want to be a slave, or do you want to be controlled by the government? What do you want? And that's about as clear cut as I can make. I just thought of that like yesterday. It's about as clear cut as I can make it. This is going to zero and you're fucked and you're controlled because you're in the dollar. This they can't touch, they can't print, and you're not controlled. You can do whatever you want. We'll go to Amsterdam or Vegas and off we go because we have this to buy the tickets for. This won't have a value. We won't be able to go. So that was my new thing is you explain it like that, Bobby, and I don't know who can argue with you. And yet this is what I've been teaching you for the last 2 years. Had some good seafood now, starting my fast. Okay. I just started my fast at 1, so I am on the first hour. Well, don't even think about it. You won't probably get hungry maybe tonight. Just have tea and water or whatever. You know what to drink. Get to sleep. You wake up. Now, it's kind of well, you ate at 1, so I would eat tomorrow dinner or go to Tuesday if you can. Better if you go to Tuesday and eat lunch Tuesday, and you'll have a 48-hour fast, and all you've skipped is basically tomorrow, or at least don't wait. Wait till eat tomorrow dinner, so you'll at least get 36 hours in. You want to get past that 18-hour. That's when the autography steps in. Oh yeah, Kenzie was back again today. Yeah, well, she says hi, and I go hi, and that's it. No comments, no. I have no idea what that's all about. I watched the playback when you said she took the name from Keanu Reeves and switched to Kenzie. Well, I started thinking about it because, all the actors, porn stars, whatever, that's not their real name. I mean, even like Jenna on her chat wasn't Jenna. So they all take names. And I was watching this movie, Siberia, and Keanu Reeves was in it. And I go, oh, Reeves, Kenzie Reeves. Even the Kenzie part, Keanu. So clearly she likes Kenzie Reeves, which is why she likes me, because I think he's an INFJ. And if she likes him, I'm an INFJ. She would like me because we have the same personality. So I think that's where whoever this person has got, Kiana goes to Kenzie, Reeves is Reeves, and that's where she got it from. So that's me being an INFJ. I was thinking the same, Professor. It's an INFJ instinct. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I try to. I think yesterday I got home. So I ate dinner. I ate my General Chow. I'm finishing it up. I got about 4:30 or 5. So I ate, and again, I only eat half the box because I'm not eating the shit. I'm not that hungry. And I did swim and ride the bike before, so I ate half the box. And then today, I'm finishing it up with today's lunch. I'm trying to think. So at 5 o'clock, I think I got home and I had a little bit of this pita bread and some blueberries. Maybe it's 7:30. And that was it. I went for a walk around here because I just didn't want to be in. And that was it. So I don't think I might have nibbled on a chocolate square after, which to me is no big deal. But yeah, I try to just eat dinner and then, just turn on the movie, get into football and everything, go to sleep. And it's different when I'm working, because when I'm working, I'm up at 7:30 here, by 7:45, I'm working. I put on the coffee, but I'm up where I'd rather sleep until 10 and then, turn on a movie on Netflix and get out of bed at 11:30, do this, and then I eat at 2 or 3 o'clock. So I'm really doing 18, 20 hours. That's what I would prefer, but I get fucked up getting up early and getting out of bed and here. So that's a little bit, but I am containing it to coffee and tea, and then I'll have my avocado about usually I can wait till 11:30, then I'll have my avocado. Then I make my omelet about 12:30. But I try. What fucks me up is I go to the pool, and then I'm hungry after running and swimming and doing my aerobics in it. I don't know what to do. I'm hungry, and it's 7 o'clock. What do I do? So I try to eat a little, but it depends how I feel. Sometimes I try to bring something, bring some chicken in the car and eat it at 5:30. I don't know. You going to the club? Yeah, I'm going now shortly. It's 2. I can leave 2. It's open till 4:30. I don't know why they close it early on Sunday, but it's open till 4:30. Well, as I was explaining, I think this is the only way to talk to a communist is you do what I just did. As I was saying earlier, so this is freedom and this is controlled. And yet, so if you told the communists, so you like to be controlled, you don't want freedom. What the fuck? Who wants to be controlled? And when I talk to Russians, especially, none of them would ever go back to Russia because they know what it's like to be communist and controlled, and they like the freedom here. So they'd much rather be here in freedom. So when it's some idiot at the pool reads Karl Marx and wants to start talking about the worker and the communist, and I'm dating 2 Russian girls. Are you out of your fucking mind? These girls can't wait to come here. They want to get the fuck out of there. They don't want to, they don't want communism. And that's the whole thing. And I don't know why we're going communist. It's not. Nobody likes it. It's total control over your life. Who the fuck wants to be controlled? I don't understand. Especially with us. We've kind of grown up free. So you really don't want it. So anyway, that's the new way I'm going to explain it is freedom or slavery. What would you prefer? And I don't think it's a choice, but I think if I show it like that, I might get a lot more people to buy gold once the kind of the light, maybe that makes the light go on. And like I say, I'm buying a $20,000 ounce of gold for $2,000 and a $2,000 an ounce of gold for $24. How I don't get why would you keep holding this? I don't get what this is worthless. It's hit the iceberg. The water's coming in the boat, and people are, oh well, we're not drowning. The water's really not that deep, and it's really not, it's going to stop. No, there's a big hole in the boat. It ain't stopping. The boat's going to go to the bottom of the Atlantic. That's what's going to happen. There is no, well, the government's going to stop the hole. It's going to stop the water coming in. I don't see how that's going to be. I mean, that's the simple part of really what's going on. And then they'll say, well, inflation's down. Look, inflation's only 3%. Bullshit. You didn't stop printing the money. You're printing more and more every month. The fuck are you talking about? And this is just keeps getting printed and keeps losing value. It's already hit the iceberg. The water's coming in, and you're telling me the inflation's down to 3%. And then if you read the small print, that's only a certain type of the inflation. The real inflation was like 8%, which means it's really 15 to 20. Because we're not counting volatile items, only items that are consistently there. Oh, wait, the cars. And that's the other part of the inflation is the cars. If the car drops in value because of the interest rate going up, that's the whole package. They're not counting that. They're just saying, oh, look, the price of the car went down. Yeah, but the interest rate's way up, and it makes the car more expensive. That's why you're paying $900 a month for a car. Modern day slavery, Mary versus freedom, AK gold and silver. Yeah, Bobby, that's where we're headed. The government wants to control us, and we don't want to be controlled by no fucking government. So really, that's the bottom line. If Stone Cold would say it, is that's where we're headed. This is slavery. They print it, they inflate it, it loses value, but you don't realize it. You think if you have $100 bill, it's still a $100 bill. It might be a $100 bill looking at it, but really it's only worth $30 or $40. This is worth 2 cents. This is the value of the $1 bill, maybe. So the value of the 100 is, maybe $25, $30. Go to the grocery store, fill up your cart. It'll come to $150. That used to cost you $35 to fill it up. I just went. I got my hamburger at $5 a pound. This I was saying. I got my steak. This is like sirloin. This is the General Chow. This was $10 a pound. The New York strip was $13, and the Delmonico was $20. So I got the $10. I haven't seen any ribs, but I went to the other grocery store. But prices are up. Go buy Oreos or 2-liter Coke, $2.99. Why is the 2-liter Coke go up in price? So I find the companies doing that. Then as I was explaining Budweiser with the woke, you have a market. So I was explaining this. So this is the market. There's Canadian Club. It cost me $35. Is there demand for whiskey? Yes, there is. Dewar's and Crown Royal and Jim Beam and, okay. So yes, I can make whiskey. There is people wanting this. Then how much do I sell it for? It cost me $35. Can I sell it for $50? Yes, people will buy it at $50. I have a market. I have supply. I have demand. People will buy it. What happens when you become Anheuser-Busch? I've got supply, but my demand has went from here to here. And when your demand goes to there and you don't have demand, you don't have a market anymore. Anheuser-Busch needs to close up because they have no more market. So it doesn't matter what they try to sell it for. Nobody's buying, means you don't have a market. So if you had an Austrian economist running Anheuser-Busch, I would be Katie bar the door. Let's sell all our assets like other people's money and get the fuck out, because nobody's going to buy our beer. There's no demand. There's no market for our beer, so we can't sell it anywhere. If I was Tesla, I have no demand for electric cars, yet he's still making them, but he can't sell them. Electric car sales are zero. Nobody wants it. You don't know the engine's going to blow up. You don't know how many miles you're going to get. You don't know how long it's going to take to charge. And as we know, in a battery, in like in my phone, first it lasts a while, then it lasts less and less. Well, that's what's going to happen in the car. And then when it's new, it maybe goes for 3 hours. Oh wait, or 300 miles, whatever. But then eventually, within 6 months, you're getting like a half hour out of the charge. Yeah, that's what I want, convenience in the car. So again, there's no market for electric cars. They've tried to make the market, which I've told you, this makes the market. Then you make it. You can't make the market and force the market. It doesn't happen. That's economics. That's Adam Smith. That's Say's law. That's what they're not. They're ignoring the communists and all the crazies and running these governments are ignoring that factor because Keynes couldn't explain it. So they're all Keynesian for some reason because they want government control, but control over what? And then the only way out is this, which we understand that's freedom in the market. So if you're Anheuser-Busch, you have no market. You must go out. That's why you see like Burger King, there's no market for it. People want either Wendy's or McDonald's, and even those, they'll start getting it too expensive. I just bought a hamburger. I bought the 86% for $4.99 a pound. I just bought 3 pounds, $12. It's going to cost me $12 to go to McDonald's, get a hamburger and fries. Or I can go to the grocery store and get 3 pounds of it for the same price and make 10, 12 hamburgers. Except I'm going to make sloppy joes with it, but that's 3 pounds. I saw Eric was asking if you drink Canadian Club. Yeah. Well, I showed the bottle and I said, I was using this for you. I was using this example. And he said, do you drink it? I don't drink it often. If I'm at a wedding or some event, or we're out July, New Year's or, Super Bowl party or something, I will ask for Canadian Club. I won't drink other whiskey if I do it. Like I said, when I'm out with Jenna, she likes champagne, so I have a little bit of that. But that's kind of all that's what I drink. I know alcohol is bad for you, but again, if the occasional Canadian Club and then you fast after, it's fine, or drink a lot of water. Have you ever tried it, Professor? Not that bottle, of course, but another one like when you worked. Yeah, of course. I had Canadian Club. I had a bottle in Alabama. It was just a regular, blue label. But I think I threw it out. I didn't want to travel with it. I didn't want to have open liquor in my car. This I took because it's closed, So yeah, I drink Canadian. I mean, I've drunken, at my wedding, at other venues, at other people's weddings or parties. Yeah, I would drink a little. I don't, I have one glass, but I'm not having that. But yeah, Canadian Club you drank. I was joking, like, you know how you have the Coke dispenser and you have the tab and you put your glass under it and the Coke comes out. I was joking, like, how come we don't have like Canadian Club in Kahlua coming out of our containers? That would have been like you go with your glass and there's Canadian Club. Most of the people work there are drunks anyway, so it's pretty funny. All the salesmen are drunks. I had a good time with that. But hey, they took us golfing. We'd have half-day Fridays. The VP of sales took us to his country club, and we didn't pay anything. And it was great. I mean, free golf on a Friday afternoon, and you got paid for it. So couldn't beat that. But anyway, So that's what it is. It's about so alligator was talking about bricks mostly, and the competition of why would anybody want U.S. dollars when you can get gold-backed currency. So that's where it's headed. Middle of August. So we're looking for the gold price to go up, and he says, well, it's really the dollar coming down, and there's 26 trillion in foreign money here that they'll start realizing I want it in gold. And they'll take their money out to buy the gold. That's when we see the gold price at 20, 30,000 an ounce. But he keeps saying, well, it's not the gold price going up, it's the value of the dollar dropping. And I agree to a point, but once you have demand, as if you have demand for this. So if this goes up, all of a sudden everybody wants it. This is going to go up in price. And I think that's what's going to happen in gold. So phase one, this is going down, this goes up. Phase two, this goes out, this goes up even higher. Then everybody runs into swarms into this, and off you go. This is why I'm kind of saying buy it now, because if you keep waiting and you say, I'm going to buy some gold now, you're not going to be able to find it, and it's certainly not going to be at 2,000 an ounce. You're going to have a zero after that. It's going to be 20,000 an ounce, and how much are you going to be able to buy? However, if you get enough silver. So if I got 20 ounces in here, I can go buy 2 ounces of gold with my 20 ounces of silver that I paid roughly $560 for at $28 a shot. Give me 2 ounces of gold because my 10 ounces of silver will be 1/10. So gold's 20,000, silver's 2,000. Here's 20. Give me 2 ounces of gold. I just turned $560 and 40,000. Not a bad day's work with, might I add, no risk. And I want to add that. So yeah, I do drink a little, but not. Do you mix it or just? Oh, I mix it with Coke. Although I learned that with Dewar's, you put 2 ice cubes in it. So what you should do is fill this halfway, my Bellagio cup. So you fill it halfway and you put 2 big ice cubes in it. You wait about 2 minutes and you let the ice melt a little bit. That's how you're supposed to drink whiskey. Let the ice kind of water it down just enough to keep the taste and cool it down. And that's the way you're supposed to drink whiskey. You can put a Coke in it, or I would get whiskey and Coke. Kind of dilute it. It's kind of, it's a very strong, well, it's all sugar. So it's a very strong, potent thing. So you got to be careful with it. But yeah. But I would mix it. Yeah, definitely. Or put the 2 ice cubes in it and let them melt in and blend it and kind of calm it down. But that's what you're supposed to. So anyway, it's all bricks. We talk baseball. Are you playing for the Mets tonight? You got the night game. I thought you were playing. I can't believe Scherzer gave up like 5-6 runs yesterday. I had the under in the Met game. I was shocked. And McCullough lost yesterday. It was like a terrible day. McCullough loses to Kansas City or whatever, or Oakland, or Baltimore, I think. And Scherzer gives up 5 runs, McCullough gave up 5 runs in the 4th inning. I thought he got injured or he didn't play. No. 4th inning, 5 runs, 5 hits, 5 earned runs from McCullough. I'm like, from Baltimore. So I took Baltimore today because if you can beat McCullough, and the same thing with whoever the Mets are playing Boston. I took Boston. I said, if you beat Scherzer, you're going to have no problem against whoever you face unless it's Verlander, but Verlander pitched a few days ago. So that's kind of how I looked at it. But that was the other part of the conversation. So again, I was talking like things you look at in football versus chess. I've been watching this girl on chess and I keep bitching at her to explain your strategy. I understand the moves in chess, but I don't get the strategy. Why do you do this? Where do I move? What's my strategy in chess? What am I doing? I want to get the king and I get the way that pieces move, but I don't have a fucking clue what to do or what to look out for, So she kind of explains it, but not really well. So I keep bitching at her going, well, you need to explain your strategy because you do a terrible job. I don't want to watch you play your game. And she has a 5-minute clock. Why are you going so fast? I don't even know what you're doing. What's the point? I don't need to watch you play chess. I can go turn on a good football game. I don't need to watch you. So even when she tries to explain it, she can't. So my analysis was football. Lamar Jackson's the queen, but he runs. So Lamar Jackson being, let's say, the queen in chess. So let's say he's a quarterback, and he runs. So Lamar's not using all his pieces. He's not using his rooks and bishops. He's not handing the ball to the running backs, and he's not throwing the ball to the receivers. So he's playing chess without rooks and bishops. Is him playing football by running the ball and not throwing or letting the running backs run. That's the exact example I'm looking for Lamar. Why he kills you. Why does Fields kill you? Why does Jalen Hurts kill you? Why is CJ Stroud going to kill you in Fields? Because they're all the pieces, right? They're the rooks and the bishops, and they can't be. But a Jefferson or Thompson Robinson, or then you get the Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Burrows. What do? They give the ball to running backs, and they throw the ball to Chase and Kelsey. They use the whole board, and they use all their pieces. So that's the best analogy I could ever come up with in football. Does the quarterback use all the pieces? Aaron Rodgers, Brady, Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert. And then you get the Lamar who doesn't use all his pieces, and you get to this Richardson and CJ Stroud and the Alabama guys. They don't use all the pieces. And then, so that I finally figured out a good analogy to Lamar Jackson is he's not using his bishops or his rooks. Or how are you going to win a game when you're the queen trying to make all the moves? And they're just waiting for you. And if you can't complete the pass, guess what? The cornerbacks are going to be on the line because they don't have to guard the receivers. And then when you try to run, you're not going anywhere because they don't have to concentrate on the bishops and the rooks. So that's my chess analysis for Lamar and Brady and the rest of the guys. The guys you want are the guys that use all the pieces. And that's why I'm always against the running quarterback, except for like a Jefferson on Arkansas, who does use all the pieces. He can run, but he uses the pieces, and so does Frank Harris at UTSA. And we know Rising and now Caleb Williams, does he use all the pieces? He throws it, but he wants to run too much. Does he use his running backs? That's his problem. That's why Jalen Hurts and Kyler Murray, they don't really use all their pieces. That's why they don't do well. Anyway, so I was looking for an analogy for football, and then it's the defense. That's hard to use in chess, but that's basically the analysis for Lamar. He doesn't use the bishops and the rooks. How are you going to win at chess without using your bishops and your rooks? So that's about as clean as I could make it. I love these analogies I come up with, just like freedom and slavery with the dollar and the gold. Anyway, so that was it. So BRICS, their conference is the 20th. They're going to go to gold. This cannot compete with gold, so everybody's going to go to gold. There's 40 countries in BRICS now, or BRICS and BRICS Plus, whatever you want to call it. I don't know any country that would want to be in the dollar and not gold. So the U.S. will have to go to gold standard to compete with the BRICS currency. If the U.S. doesn't go to gold to compete, how are you going to win the game? So we're going to play chess. The Russians and Chinese have all the pieces. And we're going to play chess without the queen, rooks, and bishops. Who do you think is going to win the chess game? So anyway, that's basically what's happened. If you don't have gold, you don't have all the pieces, you can't compete. And that's what's happening. We're going to go broke because everything will get priced in gold. All the prices will go up. The value of our dollar goes out. They come out with a new dollar. If it ain't backed by gold, it's still bullshit. The digital currency will never work because who's going to want it? I'll take the BRICS currency. And hey, that's gold. And that's why the more gold and silver we buy, Epic starts taking over. The value of the gold is going to go through the moon. And we'll sit there with 2 ounces of gold worth 100,000. Well, it won't be worth 100 because there won't be dollars to price it in. It'll be worth whatever gold's worth, which, oh, yeah, you want to buy that super yacht? Yeah, that's 2 ounces of gold. You can buy the Russian oligarch's super yacht. Bobby will be on the beach he'll have a big yacht with his 2 ounces of gold because that's how gold will be priced. It won't be priced in dollars. Good luck, Bitcoin people. How are you going to price your Bitcoin? In Bitcoin? Sorry, that doesn't work. So that's their problem. But see, they're not clever enough to figure it out. Anyway, that's Austrian economics at its finest. It's all competition. It's all supply and demand. It's all Say's Law, and it's all Adam Smith. And if you understand all that, you're way, way ahead of 99% of these idiots because they don't get it. They want to be told what to do by the government. And, oh, well, I have money. It's not going anywhere because they said that the inflation's over and there won't be a recession. And I believe them because I'm an idiot. Believe me, there's going to be a huge recession, and there's this deflation again is bullshit. If you hear deflation, whoever's saying it's a Keynesian. If you hear, if you hear inflation is prices, they're a Keynesian. And if you hear, oh, we don't like gold, they're Keynesian. So if you go to your financial advisor, broker, whoever you go to ask for money besides me, shame on you. Don't like gold or they bring up inflation, they don't understand inflation or deflation, get up and walk away and never talk to that person again. And believe me, anybody that you talk to is not going to put you in gold because there's no commission on it. Therefore, you do not need to ask them. You might ask them about gold. They're going to put you in stocks. You're going to say, fuck you. And you're going to get up and go, I'm going to buy gold because it's the only, I want to be free. I don't want to be a slave because as the dollar goes out, the market goes out. Now what do I got? Oh, I went broke. I went assault on Wall Street. My 60 grand's worth zero. Now I'm fucked. Thanks for fucking me. Oh yeah, had I put the 60,000 in gold, I'd be worth 110 now. Now imagine what it would be worth. That was like $400 or $500 an ounce in 08. Now it's 2,000 an ounce. The guy would be worth 240,000. He'd be my best friend, or I'd be his best friend. Hey, you saved my ass. I would have went zero. Anyway, so that's really what's going on. Kind of what I was talking about. Watching golf. Is it still on? I can't tell. But anyway, this Hartman was up by 10 strokes. So who cares? I never heard of it's funny. You never heard of the guy. I don't know who it is. Anyway, Rory chokes, as usual, and Rahm and all these guys choke. And the thing that I loved is it was raining and they were playing in the rain. But all of a sudden, baseball doesn't play in the rain. Football, they have trouble playing. Oh, no, there's rain. We can't play. We might get wet. It's ridiculous. They're all a bunch of pussies, these sports stars now. Anyway, that's it. No football talk today. I talked about it yesterday. As I said, Jenna lost like 4 kilograms, she said. Bobby, I got Jenna to do a fast without her knowing it. It took her 2 days because she had buses and she kept missing trains. And anyway, from Berlin to her city took like 2 days. So that's 48 hours, which she ate very little. So she basically had a 48-hour fast. She was drinking water, and she lost 4 kilograms. Funny, when I meet her, she goes, "Oh, it looks like you lost a couple of kilograms." I'm like, I don't know about that. Maybe pounds, but anyway. So she had a nice 48-hour fast. I would bet that her blood pressure is much better because she got the fast in. But if I ask her to fast, she won't do it. because she's pretty thin anyway. So, I said bon appetit, but I've given her so much money. I'm like, I'm out till Thursday. You're done. You had enough. It's weird because the buses were slow or whatever because of the war, she would miss the connection, even though she already paid for it. And they said, too bad. And then she'd have to buy it again. And I'm saying, well, then don't reserve. Just buy it when you get there so you're not paying twice. Welcome to communism. Oh, yeah, you missed it. Well, you paid for it, but you missed it. So it doesn't count. You got to pay again. I didn't like that. Anyway, she's home safe. Finally, I don't know. I have no desire to go to Berlin. And, this is Hitler's bunker. Yeah, okay. I really want to see that. There's no water really there. So I have no desire to go to Berlin. Switzerland, I'll go to. I like Geneva. Very good place. So, Bobby, you should go to Amsterdam and then Switzerland. That would be a nice trip for you. You see the girls in Amsterdam and the gold in Switzerland and the chocolate. That's a nice European trip. But the inflation is pretty high over there, getting higher. And it's coming here. So brace yourselves. But all we can do is buy our silver, buy our gold. That's your only out, but that is your out. So you know what's coming. You can basically what I'm saying is there's a snowball rolling down the hill, and it's big, and it's going to run over your car. So you either move your car now or get out of the way, or sit there like an idiot and let the snowball run over. But you are not stopping the snowball. It's rolling down the hill. It's an avalanche. You're going to get hit. That's for sure. This is going to zero. The water's coming in the boat. You're not stopping it. So either you can pretend you're not hearing it or you can listen. That's why I get so frustrated trying to help people. They're like, well, I don't have any money for gold or silver. Well, you better find some money for gold or silver, because if you don't have any money now, you're really fucked. So anyway, I just hope, it just frustrates me when the lifeguard says, I don't have any money. I'm like, here's 5 ounces of silver. Jesus Christ. Sometimes they'll say, well, my dad has. Maybe the dad's going to give her some. I don't know. But anyway, I think that's enough. Off to the pool. It's 2:24. Anything else, Bobby? So again, watch Alligator did the thing last night. And then the articles, it's all about BRICS, basically. They're talking BRICS, the gold-backed currency, gold will go up, the dollar's fucked, which is all shit we already know and talk about. I talked about deflation being a fancy. So again, if anybody talks deflation, it's prices going down. Well, no, that's the market. Because of the inflation, I'll go over it one more time. Because of the inflation, you've rose the cost. So if nobody has money left to buy it, then they're not going to buy this. Prices will come down. It's all because of the inflation. So they're calling deflation the prices going down. It's prices going down. There's no market for it. Like Anheuser-Busch, is that deflation or the fact there's no fucking market for it anymore because nobody wants it? You pissed off all the Budweiser drinkers and they're all going to Miller Lite or Corona or whatever, or Lowenbrau or some nice Canadian beer, Molson Golden. If Budweiser doesn't own that, I thought they bought some Molson. Anyway, but that's the point. Labatt's. So you go to Labatt's. But the point is, once you kill your market, you're done. You're going to, Anheuser-Busch has to go out of business because they're not going to sell it. You can't keep making it and not selling it because you have your cost. You got to pay your employees. You got to pay the factory that makes the beer and the bottles and the labels and the guy running it and the electricity and the heat and everything else. You got to still pay that. And if you can't sell your product, you're fucked because you have no revenue coming in. You have costs that don't go away. You got interest rates making your costs go up. Now you're a bigger risk. So you got to pay higher interest rates. So you're fucked. So if you have Budweiser stock and you haven't gotten out of it yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. Get the fuck out of it. There's no market. Anytime you see the market disappear, get the hell out of a stock or bond or whatever you're in, and just get out of it, because it can only work if there's a market, if there's demand. That's what I say. Canadian cloud, there's demand for it. So deflation is just simply prices dropping because of the inflation that caused prices to go up. That takes away, I have less money, so therefore I'm not going to buy stuff. I'm not going to buy a car or a house now with the high interest rates. So therefore, that's not really deflation. I mean, so to a point that it's the inflation causing the higher interest rates, causing the prices to fall. But it's not deflation. Deflation is a Keynesian term trying to express like a recession. Slowing the economy and prices falling. Well, guess what? Prices fall because of the market. There's no deflation that's real. That's a bullshit term. And they just said, well, if prices drop, we'll call it deflation. No. That's not real. That's what they're trying to say is, this will only be $20 a bottle. No, they won't make it if they got to sell it for $20 a bottle. That's what happens. So that's what they're worried about. Everything drops. Companies then aren't going to make profits, so they go out, put everybody on unemployment or whatever. That's strictly what happens. So I talked about that too, Bobby. All right, to swim. It's 2:30. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. The football is up and ready to go. Passwords are in. Prices are set. I don't have picks in yet because it's too early. We got to look at preseason. We got to look for injuries. We got to look for where's Cook and Henry going and any other movements. So, and any other injuries. So we're not going to post yet, but we do like a lot in week 1 of college and pro. Have a great day. Off to the pool. And then finish my general chow and my steak. www.teaserking.com. Hope that helped. Please, if you don't understand, you can either email me or come on here and say, I don't understand. So you want to do that. I try to explain it at a very simple level. So I'm communicating it and you're going, yeah, I get it. So that's what I think I do. And I believe I do, but we'll see. All right. Have a great day. www.teaserking.com. Thank you very much.